everything. Fabian, Ramin, bang up job as per usual. Sharif in the morning, great job. But here we go, man. It is Obi. It is Sharif. Thanks, Neil. Have a great time there. As the Buffalo Bills will be fine, man. Just a matter of who our teams play in the first round. That's, I think, what matters right here.
It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy.
No. But I think the thing about the AFC is there are some pretty, like you get first playoffs for Bo Nix, first playoffs for Drake May. Yeah. Pittsburgh's not doing anything.
The Jags look pretty solid.
Jags would be tough. And then Houston, I think there's a lot of beatable plays, a lot of beatable teams there. Yeah. NFC, I mean, I think Seattle, actually, it's a big match next week. It's
huge.
It's Rams,
Francisco, and
Seattle.
Yeah.
I think. Well, no, it's one of them. Seattle, Rams, San Fran. Okay, yeah. Well, anyways, they're all battling. So that's going to be for top seed next week. That should be fun. Anyways, we'll see. And the Bears also. Man, that Caleb never gives up. I'll give him that. That is for sure. Team, just not on the right team in the NFC North. Okay, guys, see you, man. It's 11:02. You guys good over there, Sharif? You want me a couple more minutes? Okay. All right, there we go. All right, good. It's Obi, it's Sharif. Bye for now.
There's no wire for this.
Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show. Your boy Joey Options is in Tulum, okay? So you got...
He's on a vacation.
I know, right?
He's on the beach.
He's on the beach.
He's chilling.
So annoying.
Sunny skies, clear skies.
I'm oozing in jealousy at the moment right here. That is your boy, Obi. He is the frickin' one, Kenobi. Shout out to my man. Let's see who's joining us today on this holiday shortened week. Let's say hi to Bora, Baby Hands, Donnie. We got the OG Gorev, Brennan, Machiavelli. We got Bax. We got RTJ Trades. Mike PD right up. We got Slobodan Milosevic. I thought they killed you. I thought you were in jail, bro. Notorious Dingleberg, Davey. Nobody's going to get that. I'm too old. Frank Trades, 99. We got King Clutch and Bot Rakes. Shout out to Byron Hall at KC. 526. He absolutely does deserve it. Casey, we're just hating on him. Big 40 nephew, the Gary F. 2 New York Cents. We got Evan. We got Gavin Ross. Ming Raj, and shout out to Ichiro, the OG. Oh, we already got money coming in there, man. Young Shiner, 187, dropping 279 Canadian. Playing Arkham Knight. First time while listening. Let's go. I have no idea what that is, but I'm willing to bet you probably Obi does. Well, we got Hatovsky, we got Mass 7 YG, Notorious Dingleberg, Davy Boy Roger, Roger. We'll just call it Roger. We got Hakuna Matuto. And we got Hinsey and 2 New York Cents. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. Oh, but it was all sorts of crazy weather on the weekend, bro.
Oh, yeah.
It was like a little snow, a little rain. It couldn't decide what it wanted to do.
I need a new back because I shoveled, I mean, it wasn't a crazy amount of snow. Remember that day we were here? I mean, it was on Friday. We're like, oh, yeah, storm. And I'm like, you know, I'm casually just driving back home, and I'm like, okay, you know what? It's not that bad. And I'm totally forgetting that I got to go home and shovel the driveway. And I pull up, and I'm like, oh, boy.
Yeah, you saw. What
yeah. I was just like, okay, cool. Let me go deal with this. It didn't take as long as I thought it would, but my back definitely was not happy. So
Ram wants to know why you don't have a snow blower.
Yeah, so here's the thing. We've been trying to find one, but haven't really got around to doing it just yet. But,
well, you know, that is a problem.
Those things always break down, too.
They do.
They break down. I think half the reason because most people don't know how to properly use them or assemble them.
There's
That's half
or
the reason.
Reuse, because we snows a lot. Yeah. Have you seen the electric ones?
Yeah,
they're super like lightweight. They're portable. They don't.
Are they
shovel
good?
Too much at one time.
One of my neighbors got one.
Good.
Like recently, I'm just like, I don't know. I haven't seen him use it yet, but like,
But I have no idea. That's the benefits of living in a condo. Well, one of the benefits.
Yeah, it's all that is done for you
too.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's get down to work. Here's what I'm looking at to start the morning off. We got SOPA top left of your screen. It's running really well, very strong. Having trouble with $3, 346 high. There is support at $3 though, 290. The buy zone for me is going to be between 280 and 3. Take a look at what we did in the pre-market over here with these topping tails that all rejected off 290. We ended up taking out that $293 level in regular trading hours right around 10 o'clock. So So SOPA, I see this as a buy zone, but anything below 270 ends the trade for me. That is the volume weighted average price. GVH also having a nice day to the tune of around 38%. So this one does breach one of my rules, which is trading above the volume weighted average price. That's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is to look at the umpteen amount of higher lows, and especially these bottoming wick candles off that solid yellow line that you see there on the screen. That solid yellow line is the 20 exponential moving average. Now, not a moving average I often use intraday, but when it presents itself in the way that it is here, it's kind of incumbent upon me to use it once, twice. Obi, he is the one thrice, and a fourth time. We'll see if we get a fifth. Let's see if it drops down into 350. So I'm liking this GVH pattern for an ascending wedge breakout, aka a flat top breakout. Now I realize it's already been above VWAP a couple of times, initially at 945 to make that that market high at $4. Then it took it out again at 1035, making that 417. All this tells me is once GVH makes a new intraday high, be on the lookout for an aggressive pullback. It doesn't mean it's not tradable. I believe the higher lows here are operative. We'll have to see if that ends up manifesting or not, but GVH certainly going to be in focus for me. GLSI. This is a multi-day play. Look at what this did on Friday. Great continuation. It was basically a buy program till about 1 o'clock. That's about 2 hours longer than we typically see the buy program stay on for. It did drop off a little bit when all was said and done at 4 o'clock. We closed out at $20.70. We hold yesterday or Friday's highs. We hold them basically as support, and we make new ones on our way to $26. In fact, we just made a new intraday high today at $25.77. It's up 23%, looking good. More spready as well as more expensive. That will have to factor into your analysis and your cost, well, whatever, your risk parameters there. ASPC, the boys were talking about this plenty. I like it, and I also don't. Today is an inside day. We're below Friday's low. Sorry, we're above Friday's low, but we're below Friday's high. So it's very much, an engulfed candle if we were to view it on the daily. I don't know how to feel about that. I would play it normally off the volume weighted average price, but it's already showing me its propensity to sell off, basically touching $37, $36.99, technically the high. And we've been putting in a plethora of lower lows and lower highs since that time. It feels like a rounding pattern. We'll have to wait and see. Above 37.50 gets me interested, given that we have such amount of room between today's intraday high and Friday's intraday high, which was like $56. So I can pack my patience on that one. I don't really like the look of AEHL's jib, so I'm gonna kind of forget about that one for a second until it reclaims pattern. BNAI looked fantastic, and now it's kind of breaking down. This one has got a good price. It has good price action, given that it obviously had a pre-market resistance level here of $1.90 to $1.95. It was rejected at twice earlier on, 6:45. We were rejected again at the institutional prints of 8 a.m. But it started stair-stepping down. There's your area high, there's lower highs and more lower highs, and then this one was basically looking like a flat bottom break. Ironically enough, maybe not really that ironically, through the volume weighted average price, this one's really gonna have to start trading, I wanna say above 215 to 220 for me to get interested. I don't know how I feel about this one until it kind of shows me aggressive buying. ORBS, another one that, looked really good and then it didn't. Very, very flat top breakish in the pre-market. There's a whole bunch of resistance at 2, comes that 940 print at, a 940, and it rockets up into that 216 area, and we make a 250 intraday high. Now, look at this. We're coming down into that $2 area. We're generally holding that $1.95 to $2 support, prior area of resistance, of course, in the pre-market, but it doesn't really look like it's trending with higher lows and higher highs. For me to get interested on this one, I'm gonna need prints above 2.25. That looks a long way from here at 210. So we'll see about that one. Last but not least, and then we'll let Obi chime in, SIDU, this has been up, it's been down, it's been sideways, it's been everything. SIDU has been very much in focus for an intraday trade, I wanna say the last week or two. Today, it's not having the biggest day, 22.25%, 245 high, very much an inside day, given what we did in the closing prints of Friday and the highs that we had there in the opening prints of Friday. So very much kind of an engulfed candle on the daily SIDU. We're going to keep it on there. Wow, there goes GVH, and there's the flat top break. Now, so we've done this before. We've done it at 9:45. We've done it at 10:35. Let's see if we can make a new high. I don't know where this goes, 4 1/3, 4 1/2. But what I do know is that GVH has a propensity to retrace after it makes intraday highs. Whether it does it a third time, we'll have to wait and see. But I'm not going to be taking it as a breakout trade given what it's done before. GVH, that accumulation, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows for that flat top break through 375. I hope somebody had that because that looks absolutely great. It's really the GLSI, SOPA, and GVH show here, Ob. I'm not really liking the look of it, all the other tickers, jibs at the moment.
Yeah, man, great stuff there. I didn't really have too much on my watch list this morning. I know everybody and their uncle is watching silver and gold. You just hear everybody talking about it right now. But you know, I was looking for the short coming in on Friday. That kept on going. Blue ocean action last night was absolutely solid on silver, absolutely beautiful as well. Yeah, and then a little bit of a gap down coming in, not really giving us the opportunity to get those intraday or market session shorts even. So I'm just like, all right, well, sellers are on board today. I wanted to get in on the short right off of the open. That's what I took. But guess what I didn't do, Sharif? I did not reload right here on that VWAP. So 66 halves came in so clean rejection of VWAP. This pre-market structure we were talking about.
Clean.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, it's silver. The bling bling was definitely there. You just had to wait for the turn, and 66 halves was the place to get in. And here's the thing, man. This thing has done, let's see how much volume on the day so far. I'm telling you, this thing's going to be doing at least 150 mil by the end of the day, and that's 3 times 30-day average volume. Right now, we are just closing in on 90 million shares traded on SLV on the day today. So 65 halves coming right back up into this VWAP right here. Missed the reversion off of 64. That was absolutely solid as well. 64 reversion, that wick, that tape turn, that action was very distinct. And guess what? That distinct action is bringing us right back all the way up to VWAP right now. So where's the next trade? I'm looking at silver, watching the tape, looking for anything that's distinctly different than the bid that's been happening since 64s all the way to 65 halves, coming in and around here at VWAP. If we reclaim VWAP and sustain, then I think, yeah, I do have to kind of flip the script there and see if we can get above 66s with any sort of distinction. But unless and until we get through this 67, 66s, some of these pre-market levels I was talking to you just a couple of minutes ago.
Yes, sir.
Silver in the pre-market was holding structure so beautifully. It was just like consolidation, step down, retest consolidation, step down, retest consolidation, step down. So coming into the open, I was like, okay, I'm just going to go listen to what the chart and the price action is telling me. I'm going to just take it if it comes up into prior consolidation and starts to reject it. And there was a tape turn right here, 66.20s. I took that for a little bit of a piece back down to 66.40, 66 halves, and then coming right back in, kind of a similar story, not as clean, of course, but VWAP rejection, and then holding, coming right back in through open, back through opening range lows, and a little bit of a puke. So lots of opportunity on this one, lots of liquidity on this name here, where other names on the day not really looking that liquid. And something else that caught my attention was Micron off of the open. I was just like, the chips were selling off, Nvidia was selling off. You know, there was a few chips that weren't really selling off. AVGO was catching a little bit of a bid. Intel was catching a little bit of a bid, but Micron was running up on low volume. So I started watching, I started stalking. I'm like, where are you running? Why are you running? You know what I mean? So the reversion comes in on off of that turn there, the trend break. 286s down to 284s. Sorry, 283s was where VWAP was. Took it once, took it twice. Didn't take it for much. That was my issue. I was just like, all right, well, I want to try this here. But by the time, the thing is so spready. By the time I was like, oh, I should have way more in this, it was already done and gone. I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to make some decisions on this. Just print a pretty chart and then move on, because decisions at the end of the day are what matters. Sizing, of course, after those decisions is more important. Here we go. A little bit of selling coming in here on silver, but I'm going to wait. This is the opening range low. Do I expect a little bit of turbulence here? Absolutely. The market is just in a sideways chop as of right now, so I don't have too much going on there. Tesla as well was also very beautiful in the Blue Ocean session last night, but off of the open, we did get that bit of selling. Pre-market low consolidation breakdown. Let's take a look at that as well on Tesla here. Let me pull that up for you guys so we can look at it together. Take a look at this, man. Pre-market low breaks, cracks. What is that price? 467.20s. As soon as that breaks, take a look at that. Boom, straight quadruple down into the lows here. Let's get rid of all of those. Take those off. 263s come in, and then yeah, secondary leg as well. Kind of a reversion of the reversion and bringing that selling right back in for a day low now of 461s. But now that's reverted all the way back as well, down up into VWAP, holding VWAP right now and holding resistance in and around this structure from before, 486s on Tesla. So that's what I have going on. That's what I'm watching as of right now. Let me know what you guys are watching as well, so we can take the next trade, or I don't know, I can look for the next trade. Oh boy, there goes silver coming in right there. 50 penny drop off of that 65 half test. So yeah, sellers were here before, sellers coming in again. So maybe I've missed it once again. We'll wait, we'll see. Gotta be patient. Gotta wait for the next trade.
Okay.
But yeah, Hood, let's see what you guys are talking about here. Hood, okay, I see Hood.
Is it up to no good?
I have no idea, but let's see what's good in the Hood. All right, so sideways chop after a morning drive. I guess if you were there, that was nice. Was it doing relative volume? Okay, it was doing some relative volume. That's good. That's interesting here. So decent kind of opening drive move, maybe a break of this pre-market trend you're getting into, maybe back through prior day close, but that doesn't really get you too far. You can see at the end of the day, Robinhood pretty much cracked below VWAP and below its day low at the time into the close and printed much lower, and then it continued into the pre-market session as well. So maybe a little too far too fast in that sense, and a beautiful reversion coming in off of the open with a very strong bid. All right, so yeah, what else do we got going on? Netflix, okay.
Flakes,
Let's take a look at this. Okay, a little bit of a pop and drop right here happening. That's a really nice reversion right here off of 95. Can't really get through 95 after a strong drive from, what is this, 93.80s-ish. So a false break of pre-market lows, and then a hold as well of prior day consolidation lows that were coming in and around the same place, around 94s as well. So if you were watching that, maybe you got $1 off of that. Interesting stuff. Was it doing relative volume? Not really. So it's not really that much on my watch here as well, but yeah, some good stuff. You gotta remember, this is holiday trading. We're still in holiday trading.
Exactly.
Things are gonna be slow. There's not that much news. There's not many earnings. Well, I don't think there are any earnings. I gotta check Yahoo Finance because that's the place where it has all the earnings, all the big and small names as well. And I don't know about any sort of upgrades or anything.
Well,
like
Adara
that.
had the upgrades and downgrades today, but they were a light bunch, and they were mostly price target changes rather than actual upgrades and downgrades.
Okay.
By far the most significant here was Needham cutting the price targets on Coinbase, eToro, Robinhood, as you guys were just talking about there, and also Gemini Space Station. So it's worth noting Needham maintained a buy rating on all those stocks, but cutting the price targets a bit. So crypto may be on watch with negativity. The other upgrades and downgrades were very minimal.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I pulled up Coinbase right away after you said that. Thank you, Adara. Yeah, nice pop off of the open. It was doing relative volume in the pre-market, 1.3, 1.4, so a little bit, nothing too crazy. But when that move is done, if you're saying this is running up on low volume, where are you going? Why are you running so fast? 233s all the way down to all the way up to 240s. Can't even push past 240s. You don't even have to get in on that first turn. But take a look at that lower high, 239s brings you back into VWAP. Guess what? You don't even probably have to get in there. Back through 236s, that's a structure break. Back through opening price, that's happening right now. Bit of a bleed out of that opening drive as well on Coinbase. Let's take a quick look at Bitcoin as well and see what our friends in the crypto world are up to. So last night, I think was this last night? Yeah, this was last night. I was watching this move all the way up to 90K. I was getting alerts on Twitter or X saying that, oh, Bitcoin's back above 90. I was like, all right, well, where do I short? No, I'm joking. But 90 came right back in with sellers coming in. You can see the relative volume coming in as well, and a nice crack Is that coming in the open? Yeah, 4 a.m. 4 a.m. open brings that price all the way back down for a bit of reversion.
Yep.
All the way back down to 66.7s right now. 67 halves right now is where Bitcoin is at. So a bit of a chop. Let's go to a higher time frame because I'm looking at a 3-minute on this one. I like to take a look at the multi-hour. Again, an asset that trades 24/7. Bigger picture, you do want to take a look at some of those ranges as well. And you can see here, we've been stuck in this range every time it gets above or attempts to get above 90. We just get pushed right back down to like 85s here. So that's Bitcoin over the past month or so. And yeah, it's just been the same story. We are attempting to push higher, but we really can't. But you got to remember, bigger picture, we're pulling back off of the highs. This is a beautiful reversion that happened on Bitcoin back through this 107, 110 as well. Yeah, 125s was great until it wasn't. And that broke trend, and we pulled back below 100. That's definitely stopping people out. People are, leveraged like crazy, 5x, 500x.
You saw
in
some of those
cases.
ones?
Yeah, liquidations. I mean, like, dude, what do you expect is going to happen?
Like, there was ones like that they pulled it back now when Bitcoin started dropping, but when Bitcoin was on the uptrend, you could get leverage like 1200x offshore. And we've seen that. Like CME today just pulled the leverage on silver because they know it's getting frothy. So now they're maintaining, you got to have minimum 25,000 in the account if you want to get in on a silver futures trade on the CME. So it's something that we see often when things get a little frothy, the brokerages pull back the amount of leverage they typically allow or they'll extend to you, which is interesting because then it has an effect of dampening the price action both up and down, right? Because then the leverage is not there. Well, we'll have to wait and see how that does, but that's a really good point that you bring.
For sure, thank you. Did you hear about? I don't know. I just read it in passing just like an hour ago.
Yes, sir.
$34 billion injection into a bank that was leveraged in commodities. So they ran out of money. I got to check the news again just to make sure which they're not saying which bank, but apparently it's a bank that deals heavily in commodities and stuff like that. So the Fed injected $34 billion.
What the hell?
To give him a little bit of a hand, So let me pull up that article.
Yeah, I'd love to know. That's a great one.
One of my pod members posted it a little earlier. So I was just like,
people
wow,
are saying
that's
it's JPM.
Absolutely.
Rumor was it was JP.
Yeah. So here we go. So let me pull up the X post here as well, so we can take a look at this.
Let's take a look.
The story is written at 11:01 a.m. Eastern. Has a bank, so margin calls on silver positions. That's a question mark, right? The reports are concealing the name of the bank, but it's confirmed that overnight the Fed Reserve was forced to pump another $34 billion into the banking system through its emergency overnight repo facility.
Easy.
This is $34 billion on top of the $17 billion that had to be pumped in 2 days ago.
Let
So the bank is involved, is described as one of the largest players in precious metals derivative markets. What's that?
Why do the taxpayers have to?
I mean, here's the thing, man. If a big bank fails, then you don't want.
That's a good point.
It's part of I guess part of what the government takes on as one of their jobs is to be like, you gotta help a buddy out.
Yeah.
Help a buddy out
I know what you're saying, but I feel like it rewards speculative behavior, and I don't really know. Anyway, beyond the point, let's get to some trading, guys. GVH is really going here, okay? It's uninterrupted, 4 monster green candles on the 5, taking out $4, taking out the high of the day, taking out the $0.50 $4.50 as psychological resistance, and really ramping up the volume. The volume has picked up markedly with these last few candles, all over 1 million shares each. There it goes into another high of the day. It's up 80 percentage points now. It's got that under his wings as it starts to eye $5, and there's $4.76. Look, I had a bias here. My bias, at least for the moment, was wrong. The bias was as follows. As soon as GVH makes an intraday high, it has a tendency to sell back down, and that's how I was basing my trade. I based it on the 10 EMA for my dip trade at 375. That's no longer valid at all, as the 10 EMA has already moved up to 4. So I'm trying to base my new dip trade off that $4 area. In fact, I'm front running it. We'll see what it does if it wants wants to come down into that area. So far, it's not even looking my way at $4. It's got its eye on $5. Let's see if the profit takers here are the ones that are putting in this topping tail candle, or are the short sellers starting to see what everybody else sees, which is a big move intraday here for GVH on maybe a day when the follow-through might be a little bit tough. We will have to wait and see. Here it comes down now, still breaching prior bar low only by a couple of shekels. I'm going to wait for more of a $4-ish retracement, and then we can have a conversation there. I'm building my position on RPGL into the 10 EMA on the 5, and it's finding some momentary support there. I'm a penny and a half out of the money, or like 1 1/4. Who's counting though? I'm looking for this one to hold up generally, I want to say between 55 to 57.5 pennies, and then retest 65. I've got 60 on at the moment, so I'm a penny out of the money. Let's go ahead and wait a little bit lower over here. We're going to wait at 61.5. There's 59 again. Here comes 60. So for the moment, the buyers are stepping in at the 10 EMA. That's all great and nice and everything. However, the lower highs are still in control. 65.32 area high. Subsequent candle, 62.05, current candle, 60 1/4. So it's lower high, lower high, lower high, all right? We need that trend to change, even though we're picking it up off what I perceive to be a good area of technical support. So we're gonna wait here for GVH possibly to come in to test that $4 area. I will front run the level if it does come down and spend very little time there. I don't mind jumping into it, and I'll even give it a little bit of room. But I'm not going to be chasing this one all the way down below $4 because that is where the volume weighted average price is, and I just won't trade it if it's trading below VWAP. Also, I want to mention this one over here. Let's put it on. What the hell is this one called? Where is it? GLSI. GLSI. Here we go. This one looks good. So it's a bit more expensive, so 25 2/3 right now, but as you can see, Obi would say this is holding structure, and that's kind of what I love to see with these intraday chart patterns, okay? I'm not trying to catch bottoms. I want to see this thing trend with higher lows and higher highs, and then I'll pick it up off key areas of technical support. And that's kind of what I see with GLSI right now. Just got into 26.49, which is the current high of day. I should mention the following areas. $25 was an initial area of resistance. You've got a double top there at 10.30 and 10.35. It broke through that. Why I like that 25-ish dollar buy zone is because the 10 EMA and the price action resistance both kind of show me that that level is important. So if this one comes down at maybe another 50, well, now it's jumping back up to 25.84. It's going to come down to 25-ish. I could be a buyer here with much smaller shares because of its spread and its price. Currently, we're seeing a 56 penny spread right now, 25.44 on the bid, 25.90 on the ask. That displeases me greatly, but we'll have to wait and see if that tightens up. GVH is on that stuff that, you know, they sell in other countries and they don't sell here. 478 high, this one keeps going. It did bamboozle a couple of people though. So the prior 5-minute candle, the one that closed at 11.20, ended up being a topping tail candle. And then the current candle that we're on breached the prior candle low, but it's also looking like it's going to take out prior candle highs. So that is kind of what I mean by bamboozlement. That breaks a little bit of structure, and there it goes, Obi, into another high of day. The buyers are stepping in here aggressively on GVH. They're not giving it the opportunity, at least not yet, to pull back in to technical areas of support. I am looking at that 4 1/4 now. I'm going to have to look at the 4 1/4 because the moving averages are moving, right, with the price. So, you know, I'm going to base my price off those moving averages unless I see a very clear area of technical support that will make me forego that analysis on the moving averages. So GVH really going without me here, and I'm not going to punch in at highs. That's just not my cup of tea. So we're looking to set up on GLSI. Oh, and by the way, I should have mentioned a couple of tickers over here that some of the chat brought to my attention. The OG Bovin mentioning SLS. So this is a great ascending wedge pattern, kind of like what we just saw on GVH, but obviously a little bit different. I do love the higher lows on this. I would want to base my entry on the higher lows. Alas, it's only up 8.5%, so this is not exactly rocketing up. Now, why does that make a difference? Because it might not be on everybody's radar. So that's a look. Now, I'm basically out of the money here on my trade on RPGL. So 52.5 pennies is going to be my line in the sand. That's VWAP. We'll see if it comes into that level and whether it bounces off that level. I'm getting little pieces at a time here. Don't want to get in too much too quickly. What are you looking at, my man?
For sure, man. I'm watching this silver here, so you know, a little late coming into this, but you know, sizing accordingly, trying to be nimble as well. Like I said before, missed the snipe at VWAP earlier. These are not the best prices in my opinion for me, but you know, more than willing to kind of get out, get back in multiple times until it actually kind of shows itself. But yeah, we're making lower highs. We kind of rejected that 65.5 area as of right now. Market's kind of consolidating inside on an inside day. Where is a VWAP, you may ask? Let's see, I have a couple of different VWAPs here. 6603s is where I have VWAP as of right now. But you know, if the buying kind of comes in, that 64, I want to remind myself more than anyone that action at 64 was a little distinct. So you know, staying nimble with this area. You know, if it's gonna go, it goes right away. That's kind of how this turn was, and I'm looking for that kind of action. If I was just looking at the 64 eights right here, and that actually gave me 20 pennies almost instantly. But it kind of held 60s, reclaim, bid came right back to 70s. I'm like, all right, that's not what I'm looking for. There you go. There's a bit of a bid back in to 65. So I'm just like, all right, cool. We'll wait. We'll be patient. Again, there's no need. There's no need. Willing to lose multiple times over to find the right opportunity to risk appropriately. But let's see what's going on in the crypto world with Crypto Watch. What's up, Adara?
Let's talk about Tom Lee and BMNR. Now, of course, Tom Lee, chairman of the board of directors of BitMine Immersion Technologies, and BMNR just announced more Ethereum purchases right now, holding more than 4 million Ethereum tokens. So good look here for BMNR. That stock initially pushed higher, but then gave up a lot of that move. I do want to talk now here about crypto. Here's a look at BTC. And as you can see the daily chart, we're still in a pseudo micro range here, 90,500 serving as resistance. This is going back to roughly Wednesday, December 25th. So it's, or 2005. Wednesday, December 17th, 2025. There we go. That's how long we've been kind of finding this resistance. Local support, meanwhile, serving around 86 halves. We traveled most of that range today, currently trading around 87 halves. So let's see if we are able to break out of this BTC range, either to the upside or the downside. It's worth noting, you know, as we get to the end of the year, we start seeing a lot of analyst price targets for the next year. And these price targets, as they usually are for any type of asset, they're kind of all over the place, guys. Mike McGlone of Bloomberg Intelligence saying that Bitcoin will be at $10,000 in 2026. Yes, that would be roughly 90% drop. He's saying that there could be some capital fragmentation across the crypto market just due to the competition that BTC now has for attention and for funds from all of these other crypto coins. Ed Yardini saying that he does expect a rebound in Bitcoin, saying that AI and equity market inflows are likely to contribute. Meanwhile, you have Arthur Hayes projecting BTC at 200,000 next year. So as usual, all over the place. But that 10K call from Mike McGlone of Bloomberg, certainly interesting as we send you back to Sharif and Obi. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.
Thank you very much.
It says almost as ambitious as Peter Schiff. But that should be really interesting. $10,000. You buying Bitcoin at $10,000, Ob?
Of course. What do you mean? I told you, last time I had a bid in at 15, never got hit. Came down to like 17, I think. That was
15,
many years ago. Yeah, you know what? I'll buy some at 10. Why not? It's fine.
We're talking like it's a foregone conclusion. You never know, man. The first thing that I go to this Chinese restaurant on Christmas Day. We did, you know, we're Orthodox, right? So we don't really do the 25th.
Still a couple of weeks.
Still a couple of weeks away, but we do like a Jewish Christmas. We go to the Chinese restaurant, we do it nice, we bring the entire family.
Nice.
And the first thing everybody's asking me, I don't know why I'm like the person to ask, but what's going on with the crypto? Right? Why is crypto down? It's like, I never told anybody to buy crypto. I said I was buying crypto.
Ask Satoshi Nakamoto. Why you gotta ask
like,
me,
why am I the one that has to answer to this? But yeah, if you're it's like being like the law guy or being the medicine guy in your family, you're responsible. You know, anytime there's a development in that area, they're looking for answers. And you better have answers, Obi, or otherwise, you know, you might be in some trouble with the family there.
I mean.
All right, no, I'm exaggerating for effect as always. Guys, GVH, big poop. And so now your boy's long. The position board is gone. I do apologize about that, but we'll load it up. So we've got 29 nines on right now, and I'm looking for this to hold this technical area right here. So that was the dip into the 10 EMA on the 5 as well as VWAP, but the blood in the street could be worse. It could move down into 4, right? We talked about $4 being that technical area of resistance initially. Now let's see if it acts as support. I'm going to build into VWAP. If it ends up losing VWAP, that's fine. I will hold it into 4, but if it loses 4, I'm out. So it's already bleeding its own blood right now, as my boy Joey Options likes to say. We're going to get more here at 15s. Let's see what this one has to offer. It is quite aggressive to the downside right now, though. I don't know why my SLS long didn't trigger. That's really frustrating. I had a breakout. Okay. So it's just sitting there unfilled. That's hilarious. Love that on SLS. But anyway, we're not going to go more into that. But RPGL treating me real well over here, as we did catch that bounce off, I want to say 58, and then up it goes. We went the peak at 62 and 63. Let's post some more shareage here at 64 and change. We're looking for this one to hold trend, but it is putting in a bit of a topping tail candle now. Oh no, oh no. All right, there goes GVH, taking out some orders there at 34s. Now it's showing me 36s. Let's post a little bit higher here. We're gonna post at 39. Then we also want some mid 40 prints, so we'll take some there if it does find support. Now, it is finding a bit of a hammer looking candle off VWAP, off the 10 EMA. I'm talking about GVH. Let's see how this one has, what this one has to offer in terms of a continued area long. SLS is breaking out. I'm quite annoyed. I put a breakout trade. I put a script order. That's the last time I'm going to use a script order for a breakout trade. We're going to use Edge A from now on. In any event, I had a 13 penny breakout on SLS. It didn't trigger, and now it's at 21. Just got into the high of the day. Good look here for SLS, but finding a bit of resistance, I want to say, at that $1/5 of a dollar. Continuing to keep an eye on RPGL. Keeping an eye here on GVH as this one pops in to the mid to high 30s. I'm looking for more here into the 40s on this bad boy. I may have to pack my patience, as this one may take a little bit of time to recover, as it did, I want to say, from that 930 all the way down to about 1035 before it made a new area high. So we're going to hold this so long as it holds above 4, but if it gives up 4, that's the end of the trade for me. SIDU. I see SIDU, Bovin, and I like SIDU for a different reason. Not really a trend trade, and that was my first inclination to look at this. I'm like, okay, established high at 245, generally an established low, I want to say in the mid 20s or low 30s. But this one feels, Bovin, like it could be a flat top break. We are dealing with now 2 higher lows based upon that 205 area low in the pre. Then we make that low of the day at 220. Prior area low is 227, so it's incrementally higher lows on this monster. We'll see if SIDU wants to be a flat top break through 245, keeping my eye on this. Funny
you mentioned that. I'm like looking at volume leaders because I'm just like, okay, where's the next trade? And I see SIDU right there, number 3 on the list. Guess what? I pulled it up. That 245 break, I like that same idea. I think there's a lot of people looking at that breakout, 245s, and if that pushes with any sort of distinction, yeah, I definitely want to maybe take a stab at that one. It's done about 51, 52 million shares. So just going through the volume leader list right here, because I'm like, I don't really see much else here. I don't necessarily want to get chopped up here on SLV. I think the long off of 64 is kind of significant as of right now, and we've made a higher low since then. But again, we could just be in a sideways chop. We rejected opening range lows right here off of the 65 half. So what was the opening price specifically? 65.7. So okay, so that's pretty much in there right there. So SIDU, I'm definitely watching. NIO is a number 4 there. Nothing too crazy happening here. Let's pull up the relative volume as well, because I want to make sure I'm keeping
headline on that too. Some good Chinese export EV data coming from that side of the world.
Yeah, dude, we're doing 10 times on this crumble, 10 times relative volume around 4 a.m., and then 6 times coming into the open. So yeah, breakout of this prior day. I guess this was the trade right here, Sharif. Look at this flat top from prior day. We come in, you don't even have to take this break. Pull back, hold structure right here, boom, giving you a 3.2% move. This thing has done 33 million shares. So guess what? Try not to go above 1%. That's what I've heard. I don't know. I don't know if that's true, but that's a decent chunk. of size that you can potentially take on just a structure hold for prior day on news too. It has a catalyst. It's structure. It's holding structural integrity. You know what I mean? That, like, what else do you mean? Those are two strong factors of confluence. Sure. And then you also break some of these opening ranges as well. So I'm sure this is in and around VWAP. Let's just take a look right there. Boom, VWAP hold as well. So triple factor of confluence right there on that push, and decent volume on the breakout of the opening range high as well. That's holding this 525 level right now on NEO. Tesla, we already kind of talked about Tesla. Tesla's kind of chopped. We did get to the opening range high. We're testing that as of right now. Let's see if we can get past that on Tesla. ORBS. Wow, look at this one. Orbs. Beautiful reversion, man. Come on. Sharif, you got to tell me about these. Look at
know what, Old? Can I show you something? Look at my scanner on the top here. What does that say? Top percentage gainers, right?
Yeah.
And then look at that one right next to it, top percentage losers. I have it there for show, Ob. I don't remember the last time I clicked the top percentage losers. I really should. And I know that there are great trades to be had down on these small cap gappers the other way. It's just that, you know, picking up some of the shorts is a little bit time consuming bit for us. So,
for sure.
you know, that's why I just try to stay away from it. But yeah, great point there on orbs. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No worries. Wow, look at this. Walk is cooking up a storm here, right here. Post-split runner, another post-split runner. Oh my God, I gotta, you know, this is definitely a little bit of a playbook thing here. You know, post-split squeeze, post-split runner, whatever you want to call it. Reclaims $5, looking nice, coming in off of the open, but boom, right back through $5, back through structure, and then comes right in for a 40% pullback.
Wow.
Right, Sharif? This is what I mean. Some of the shorts, like you see something, but here's the thing, this would have been on your scanner for percent gainers. But as soon as we crack that 5 and we crack that pre-market, there's only one way to go. We can't even hold VWAP coming in off of the open. This thing has done 16.2 million shares, doing 40 times relative volume here on the day on WAC, which is Work Medical Technologies here. So yeah.
You ever use a WAC?
I think I've used it once. I don't remember.
I love using WACs, man.
Yeah.
What's
your favorite dish to cook?
You can throw in the mixed veggies in that.
Oh, yeah,
you know what? You throw in the chicken. Yeah. You can throw in some more proteins. You want to throw maybe a little surf and turf, right? And then nothing splashes, because you got that angle there.
Oh,
so I'm going in hard. You know what I mean? I'm cooking up storms. But
some of that oil splatter is crazy sometimes. They got to come up with like a visor or something for some of that. It's, you know.
The visor for the walk, I absolutely love it. Shout out to my man. All right, here's the deal, guys. We're continuing to defend GVH over here. Look, it's zigging and zagging at the volume weighted average price, which is also overlapping with the 10 EMA. We're currently flat on it at 425, but we'll see how this one does. I don't know. I have a feeling, and I don't know if it's a good one. Well, hopefully that will be wrong. And it's also spready, 5 pennies, 6 pennies, tightening up now. Now it's 7, despite the fact that it's done 11.5 million shares. So I'm not exactly sure why this one is a little bit spready. I do see BNAI waking up, guys. I promise you, I haven't taken that off the side chart. I still don't really like it all that much. We'll see. We'll see. If it can get above that 2.25 where it's rejecting now, we'll possibly get involved with that one. We're also continuing to hold here on RPGL. Nothing really doing on this one. Let's put some more profit takers at a little bit of lower levels because we're really not getting the continuation here that aggressively. There's a print. Good, okay, not too bad right now on RPGL. Let's see if we can get a next print here. We're waiting at 62. There's 61 1/3. There's 62. Good continuation here on RPGL. Are we posted at 63? No, but we will. So 62.5. Now we're posted at 63. We're also posted at 64. 67. Let's see if we can get that break above 65 1/3. That is the high of the day, 65 1/3 pennies on our, RPGL. But GVH, geez Louise, this one continues to bleed its own blood into 4. Let's see if it finds support. As we were talking about that, that's the $4 area. If it breaks that, I'm out. We're going to take the hit on that one. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on. Those are the only 2 trades I've gone at the moment. BNAI doesn't really look all that great. Bovin, I don't like the volume on ASTI either, brother. I saw you mention that. That's 447,000 shares. It's a little bit light on volume, but I do see the breakout there on ASTI. Keeping an eye here on what's it called? GVH. Here comes that 20 EMA. This is the line in the sand. This is the area we talked about. If it loses this, I'm out. So let's throw in the stop right now, right below that, because I won't be DCing into an oblivion here. 382, we're gonna put the stop there, and that's where the blood will stop if it continues to bleed its own blood. There we go, we'll throw in that there. What's our cost basis? 19. So look, if it prints some higher highs here and holds this area, I'll add so I can adjust my cost basis a little bit. SIDU continuing to do nothing, still trading very much within the range. It feels like 230 to 245, so I'm not inclined to jump into that one either. But as always, guys, if there are small cap gappers that are making a move that I haven't mentioned, they're above the volume weighted average price, they're doing good amount of volume, please let myself or OB know, and we'll definitely keep a look at that. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on, guys, and we're gonna see if GVH wants to hold this $4 area. It's holding it quite well at the moment, but I've said that before with 4.25, which ended up giving way. So we're gonna pack the patience over here. And there goes RPGL. That one is doing real well. And we have more shares on this one than we do on GVH. Let's see if this one can take out the high of the day. It's taking out all my prints saving except for 67 and 69, but it is also having trouble breaking above 65. We've seen the selling come in at 65. It's above 64 momentarily now. Let's see if it can get up above that OB.
Yeah, man. Talking about SIDU, I was just like, I tried to hit the bid there in the 40s because I was like, all right, this is not going through 45s. And guess what?
What?
We need some shorts to borrow.
We need some shorts.
I was just like, all right.
Well, you got your boy Neil
not
right
prepared
here.
for taking
ready.
some shorts on these names here as we consolidate. What's up? What's up, Neil? No, I think I'm good for now. I wanted the long, and I was like, this is such a bad long right now, and then that's gonna give me some confidence to be like, all right, try the short, and I try to hit the short, and it's like, all right, no, that's okay. That's fine. A little too late. Now I'm going to be like, if I hit it here, that's more FOMO. I'm in the middle of the range. I'd rather short at the top of the range, get long at the lower end of the range, even though we've been making higher lows, man. You can see it's held 20s, holds 25s. Now let's see if it holds VWAP, right? That would be in and around that step up that maybe of what we're looking for if we're looking for that flat top breakout here on SIDU. But yeah, I'm looking around silver. Look at that. See, didn't like the bid that came right back in. I got right out. I don't need to take a loss on something that's telling me that, yeah, no, I'm not going to go this way. So, so it's coming right back in the 65s flip game. Maybe not as strong today because the long is definitely coming in 65.30s now. Let's see if we can get up to VWAP here. On this chart, I have 65.73, so not that far away, only about 40 pennies away from VWAP there. And then, let's see, on another chart, I have 66, so a little bit of a discrepancy between these VWAPs right here. Now, again, P-Pro will have some of these dark pool prints, which will affect the VWAP here, so whether you want to use it or not, I just like to kind of have multiple different VWAPs because, sometimes data is an interesting thing. Data sources are an interesting thing. Yeah, just kind of confluencing some of those VWAP areas with price action is what I'm looking for. Let's see if it comes in. We are getting a pretty decent grinding bid. Another name that I do have on watch, again, a sector play, is GLD. Take a look at the GLD, man. Okay, so two things I do want to point out here for both SLV and GLD. I did mention earlier that 64 reclaim or that 64 false break on silver was distinctly different. And since then, we've been kind of chopping around and slowly making our way back up to VWAP. So that was pretty nice. Was it capitulation? I don't know. But take a look at the volume drop off after that event happens, right? The volume dropped off significantly. None of those bars are anywhere near rivaling that of the morning session. So that happened in and around, what is that, 10:30. We start to pull off. Similar story here, but I wasn't looking at gold, but that's definitely a little capitulatory right there. Boom, 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 back through 400. Nice little slam through 396s. Large volume candle, rivaling that of the opening candle, and then we're just getting on a slow, steady grind back up. So maybe this is the flat top break that I'm looking for. 399s to 400 halves. That's VWAP, and also some of this opening range low structure where, yeah, look at that. Volume kind of drops off after this bid back in, volume drop off as well since that 10:30 mark here on gold. So
Obi,
yeah, maybe this could be a reversion. Yeah, go for it.
RPGL is breaking out, guys. The buy is on, the squeeze is on. This is very aggressive. Okay, I don't even know why it's not letting me fill the print. There we go. This is an aggressive move here on RPGL. I love how this has RPG in its name. Maybe I shouldn't say that because you know, you never know if you're going to get dinged with the algorithm, Fabian. Role
RPG,
play
yeah,
game. That's true. That's true. People do stream
MMORPG
games on YouTube, right? It's not just Twitch and stuff like that, right? All right, here we go. We're doing it freaking live on this name. Let's go up 174 light percentage points. Great breakout trade there. We got 58s on. We just took out some at 73. We're looking for the continuation, possibly into that dollar. What a move up here on RPGL, man. I absolutely love this. In the same way that I'm hating GVH, right? Kind of a tale of two feelings there, but good move here for RPGL. Now, what's the next trade? Or what's the next move, as Obi would say? Well, I perceive a buyout area here. I want to say between 62.5 pennies to 65. There was a whole lot of rejections at 62.5 pennies and a bunch of topping tails into 65. So to me, that creates a zone. So I'm not exhausted out of shares. I still have more beak wetters left. The point is, though, if this comes back into that area, I might refill here, okay? So we're going to have to wait and see. I want to see what kind of candle we get on what volume, what kind of level 2 look I'm getting. Is there huge size at one particular area? So I don't want to commit entirely to adding between 62 to 65, but it is definitely on my radar as this one really does rocket up. I mean, I get it. It's a sub $1 name. You're like, Sharif, why are you looking at penny stocks? Well, that's all I trade. And that's all I will trade, right? Typically, though, I try to trade the ones that are above $1, but on a holiday shortened week, beggars can't be choosers, and this one set up quite nice. To use an OB term, it held structure. So as a result of that, that's why I kind of got into that. But GVH, we're flat on this one. Actually, we're 1 penny in the money. I have an option here. I can kind of let this one hold the 20 EMA, which is an area that I basically said was very clear to me as an area of support, or I can get the hell out, right? And then focus on something else like GLSI or SLS, both of which are at highs. I'm too stubborn. That's the problem. I want to see it through, so I've already put my stop in play. It's not below the 20, so I'm just going to take the hit if I have to take the hit, but this has to close below the 20. EMA on the 5 for me to get out. So we'll see what that one does. Back now to RPGL, because that one's a lot closer to highs than GVH is. It's showing that 70, I want to say it bridged 70 momentarily on the current candle, but it didn't come anywhere near 65 to 62. So here's the deal. We're going to go in, we're going to throw in very small size for an order at 65. I'm going to put it right at 65, but I'm also going to keep a slightly larger order at that. I'm going to put 63, even though I realize it's 62.5 pennies. Let's see what this one has to offer. Okay, it's got a huge candle up right now, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was an, not equally, but a very similarly sized candle to bring us back down into that area of technical support again. So that's my look on RPGL right now. Oh, there goes SIDU right through the high of the day again. So that one takes out the flat top, but you know, we're only talking here about a couple of pennies, but it does blow through that previous area high in the 49s. Not really great volume, but it does break that structure. So the higher lows once again are operative here, especially when you're looking at that flat top, that same area of resistance that gets encountered multiple times in a day. SIDU, if you built your position smartly at VWAP, which is 2 1/3, you're printing nicely here. So keep your eye on SIDU. It is a multi-day play and looks again like it's going to have another good day, up 28% open.
Yes, sir. So I did get a little chasey here in the SIDU. Got that 49, but we'll see. Let's see if we can hold this 45 here and kind of push a little bit higher. We did break that structure, so do I expect it to be clean? Absolutely not. Do I expect it to give us a little bit of a push? Yeah, maybe. I'm looking at prior day, and we're seeing that 260s is that consolidation low where we did that quadroon. Sellers definitely came in pretty aggressively there. So yeah, I'll wait and see if we can kind of trek our way along. Decent volume on that break too, but looking for that follow through as of right now. My mistake, kind of pushing in aggressively, getting the high print there at 249s. But yeah, let's see if we can hold 45s. And yeah, you're definitely right. VWAP hold. That's what I said earlier. I was just like, if we can hold VWAP, maybe we make another leg to the highs for a push higher. And I don't really participate in that. But 2 halves coming in here on SIDU. Let's see if that'll come in. And oh, look at silver. Silver's all the way back at VWAP right there on that bit of a push. So yeah, good thing I got out of that short. Unfortunately, I didn't flip long on that reason to buy, right? Sometimes, you know, what I like to say is that if you kind of can boil it down to reasons to buy, reasons to sell, and be position neutral, then you have a better perspective, or this is what I found, better perspective on directionality, and just taking the trade for what it is, right? But yeah, silver coming right back up into VWAP. Let's see if sellers step in here again, because they've been there in the pre-market, off of the open. Now let's see if they're there in the intraday session as of right now. 65.70s coming in as 66s potentially here on SLV. I'm patiently waiting. I'm watching. Silver has been squeezing pretty decently over the past couple of days there. Parabolic move on some of these precious metals, man. One name that I have not been watching was it PPLT, I think? PPLT, and that's the platinum move right there, and that was a much better short off of the open there. You can see a nice little flush breaking down and pulling back nicely into 188 halves right here, but catching a bit of a bid as of right now. So yeah, seems like precious metals are going. Let's take a quick look at gold, because GLD, I was watching that as well. Is that starting to go? 400 halves I have at VWAP. We're currently trading at 399 halves on GLD. So we'll wait and watch to see if that comes in. But I'll tell you straight up, I'm looking for sellers to step back in. This move's a little too far gone, in my opinion. And you know, you hear everybody talking about silver. It's funny. Just in the back, one of the boys was like, "Yeah, over the weekend I saw a homeless man telling people to buy silver." And I was just like, is that the top?
I think, Is
that the top?
You're using that, I'm assuming, in what's it called? In help of or in purpose of a bigger point here.
Yeah, it's just like the information is disseminated amongst the population, and it's just like, you know, I'm just like, all right, you know, like it's the same thing. It's like you're at the dinner table, and like, you know, you're maybe your aunt or uncle or grandparents start talking about something that's been going crazy, right? It's just like, all right, cool. Is this the top? That's what you have to ask. I don't know, but funny enough, silver gaps down and doesn't even give you the move to kind of short from those highs all the way on. So yeah, we'll see how that really pans out. But tape is getting a little aggressive. Is volume picking up right now? That's what I'm asking. Nothing too crazy just yet in terms of volume increasing, but we are trending up higher. Like I said, this 64 was a little significant on the way down on the reclaim of 64, and we've been making higher highs, higher lows since then, and now pushing up through VWAP. So maybe we get into this prior structure at 66 halves, where we got caught some aggressive selling all the way down into the lows. So I'm waiting. I'm being patient. Shout out to the longs that got in on that 64. That was, again, a decent piece of information. I think this one right here as well, decent piece of information. I got out of it. I was just like, yeah, that's a strong reason to buy. I'm expecting this to go right away, and if it's not going to, then yeah, kind of buying in this area is definitely worth a little bit of a try. So SLV at VWAP right now. Market still kind of doing absolutely nothing, man. Just kind of sideways consolidation within the range. So a little disappointing there.
We're gonna talk a lot about silver as well, and China's latest, I don't know, influential push into the price of silver. We're going to be getting to that on the rundown. So if you want to know the deets of what the hell is going on with some of these precious metals, silver specifically, and its relationship to China, hang out with us for another hour or so. We typically start the news at around 1 o'clock. But here's what I'm going to say, Fabian. There goes RPG freaking L into the high of the day, 79 pennies high. We got 58s on this one. Limit up is 90. The breakout is on and the volume is insane. Yeah, it's a sub $1 stock, but it's done almost 300 million shares of volume on the day. And here comes that 79.44 high day. I ain't talking about $79.44. I literally mean 77 pennies and then a few decimal places after that are fours. Let's see if this one can break through that 80 penny area. I've got 82s because that's the year I was bored, and I always have weird little profit-taking areas like that. So we're gonna look for 82s next, and then we're gonna look for 88s and see what that one has to offer us. But thank you, Bovin, for pointing this one out. I don't know what the hell is going on with DXYZ, why it's up 5%, or why it decided to break out at 11:45 in the afternoon, and having done nothing, haven't been red, actually, quite frankly, most of the morning, including the pre-market. So this thing closed out at around $31 on Friday. So we're going to throw in a horizontal trend line there to denote Friday's closing print. And that was also a flat top breakout, a very aggressive flat top breakout. It was once, it was twice. It was Obi, he is the one thrice, and then it was an explosive breakout at 11:40, which was, 11:40, yeah, which was continued at 11:45. Anyway, 32.78 high a day. It is showing 32.42 now. I'm looking at my blotter. I don't have anything to justify this, but as soon as we do find out, we will certainly let you know. We're gonna have to pause for a second. We're sending it to the big desk with Adara.
We're going to talk about what's happening now. For what it's worth, I've also looked into DXYZ, didn't see anything. But in the meantime, we're going to take a moment here to thank our friends at Orogenics, because concussions demand fast solutions. And NYSE-listed Orogenics, or OGEN, is developing one that's designed to reach the brain quickly and non-invasively. How do you learn more? Well, you have to schedule a meeting today. Thank you very much to OGEN. And let's talk here about this market, because the Nasdaq here, unlike some of these names we're going to talk about later down the line in this segment, fairly range-bound. We've got some lower highs, higher lows, triangle pattern forming here on the QQQs. Let's take a look here at the S&P 500. This one actually a little bit more trending. We do have a bit of a base. We've touched this twice now, the 686.7s level with decidedly lower high. So S&P 500 perhaps a bit more directional to than the Nasdaq, but certainly to the downside. We talked a lot about these metals plays. Shrivanobi just discussing this. SLV trying to maybe get its best bounce that we've had all day. Now seeing some higher highs and higher lows from this base that we made at 10:30 a.m. Of course, geopolitical tensions, some margin here with CME raising its margin requirement for silver. Lots of different catalysts on watch here for SLV in particular, but the precious metals space as a whole. And then last but not least, let's talk here about COIN, one of the 4 crypto-related tickers, including Robinhood, eToro, and last but not least here, Robinhood, eToro, and Gemini Space Station, all of these getting their buy ratings maintained by Needham, but actually getting their price targets cut. So COIN getting a $400 price target cut all the way down to $290 by Needham. Right now, actually at low of day, but trying to bounce a little bit. So crypto certainly still in play. Now, before we send you back to Obi and Sharif, we're gonna have to take a moment to listen to Neil's lesson of the day. Neil, give the people that lesson.
Yes, thank you very much, Adara. Lesson of the day is, it was actually something that got said earlier that Sean and Obi said they were talking about last week, which is you got to make a call. The traders got to make a call, and I simply said, traders literally shouldn't make calls. Analysts should make calls. Traders should make trades, and that's sort of the thing that gets lost. I think oftentimes is everyone's like, well, is today a long or is today a short? I've seen a lot of traders over the years. What I've never actually seen is somebody, and I might be repeating myself to a certain extent, but I think some of the best lessons are things that we should repeat. I've never seen a trader in my over 20 years actually make their money because they call the direction of the market correctly. Like they say, like every single day they start with the market's going up or down, and then from there, that's the basis of how they make money. And that's not really true, because when you think about what a trade actually is, it's, do I want to take something in a particular direction? I want to do so at a particular price. And then it's like, I want it to go from point A to point B before it gets to point C, because point C is where you're out and you're wrong. And without those elements, you don't really necessarily have a trade. And I'll give you an example. Like I was looking for something in my note, I said I'm looking for a very specific long in silver. Did it mean I think silver was going down? Literally the opposite. I wanted trend reversals in silver. Why? Because every single time it had a trend down day, this is what would happen. Trend down, break of trend, great long. Trend down, break of trend, great long. Trend down, break of trend, meh, okay long. But what had been working for 3 days in a row outside of the parabolic move is if it trended down, I'm going to take a shot at the long. So that simply meant this trend broke, tried it, didn't really follow through. This trend broke, played it, failed at VWAP. But overall, I mean, green on silver, kind of like 1 for 2 without either one of them being gigantic. But I had a plan of action as to what I needed to see for there to be a long. Like you could say, like I could point to, I don't know, let me just look at, I'll use an example of a stock that I haven't pulled up today. Because sometimes something that you haven't looked at is probably the best way to exemplify this point. Because I haven't even taken a single look at Apple today. I didn't really care about Apple, didn't think it was going to be in play. But if I said today that, oh, I think Apple is a long, could I have found winning long trades? Yeah, long off the open works. I could make up support at this like prior, like somewhere around where it closed on Friday, buying off at 273. Like that certainly would have given you like 1.5 opportunities for a long, maybe even a third if you took a breakout. Could I have liked a short trade? I could have said short, maybe you liked it short back into where it lost at Power Hour on Friday, right? So you like this 274 half. And you're like, okay, well, I want to short off of this. Find yourself an entry based on that. You could also look at this level here, like 274.20. Right, like support, breakdown in the afternoon, finds resistance. So if you were favoring the short side in Apple, there were places that you could find an area to transact in. And that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. Like what's a reason to transact? What's a reason to get into the trade and where would you be able to get out? And that's what a trader's looking for, ultimately. And that can be true of day trades, swing trades, anything in between, of whether you're sort of, you could be like an in-between, like sometimes I get in and out the same day, sometimes I hold a little bit longer because that's what your rules tell you to do. We have Michael Noss come on here all the time talking about technicals and only ever looking at the charts and ignoring fundamentals. Maybe you do a blend, maybe you have a little bit of fundamentals giving you an edge in your trade. But as long as you have an edge, none of it really matters. Like I don't need to be able to say that, okay, IBIT's going to go down today. So I'm just gonna short it at every single price. I mean, that's crazy. Like obviously, if you just short it at the open on Friday, like that's great. But I needed to see it either come to a level or form a pattern. So the level, I got lucky and the level that I liked happened to hit the first time. But what did I do after that? I looked at the actual structure, which was holding VWAP or this prior high and said, okay, well, is it failing under this next resistance? Tried it here, it lost. And then the answer to that was like a yes later on, which now makes it true. So I'm favoring the short, but not just short it everywhere. Like it could be, but if you just think IBIT is a short, you could be short, and then you get blown out. Maybe you get blown out here because you weren't waiting for it, and it eventually does work for you. So it's not about the call. Like IBIT's actually 0.1, like it's higher than where it closed. Not that this matters in a 24-hour market for crypto, but it's actually higher than where it was at the end of the day on Friday. But the short worked because I was looking for a particular trade or a particular setup. So you first have to know what it is you want to look at. That's true. You also have to have some idea of the direction that you want to play, at least at a particular price or at maybe like an indicator. I want to go long or short off this indicator. I want to go long or short off of support or resistance. But it's all about that actual execution that matters more. And furthermore, and I'll end with this. The reason why this is so important is because while I told you I've never seen someone make their money based on starting off every day with this is the direction the market is going and I will base everything based on that without much of a trade plan, why this is so important is because most of the biggest losing trades that I've ever seen, or when people consistently lose in trading, it is because oftentimes of a particular bias that overshadows the execution. Meaning they just favor a direction over actually trading it with a plan or trading at a particular price. Like you'll favor a long, so you just go long at like areas that don't make sense based on your trading plan or based on the history or the successes you've had in trading. But you just think it's a long, so you just keep going long. That's where the downside comes in. So it's more dangerous to lead with that because it'll make your losing days bigger if you don't have an execution plan. It's not that you shouldn't have a directional bias. It's just that you should have an execution plan or a trading strategy that supersedes your directional bias. It can be aided by the bias, but the bias isn't your lead. And if it is, and you can make it work, then I ain't talking to you. Because ultimately, I can only talk about my experience with the traders that I've seen. And if something works for you and it goes against everything that I'm saying, then don't listen to my dumbass. Because it doesn't ultimately matter. If you can find something that works, great. I can simply tell you from my experience what I've seen with other traders, and again, I've seen lots of them over the years. So that's the lesson of the day. I usually end by saying, oh, this is what we had for lunch and it was good or bad. But we don't have lunch this week. So I gotta go out and get something, and I have an overwhelming desire. I don't know why, but I really feel like I want eggs. I might actually go, because like it's 24-hour breakfast at the McDonald's. I might just get like a sausage and egg, a couple of sausage McMuffins. Because for some reason, I don't know, it's because we didn't get the breakfast this morning, but I feel like eggs right now. And sometimes, you just gotta get what you want. McDonald's isn't the healthiest in the world, but hey, it's a pretty healthy choice to get the sausage and egg. It's not that bad, it's not controversial. Hold on a second, what did you say, Sia? Chicken nuggets? Do you want me to grab some chicken nuggets for you? For real? All right. No, Sia just said chicken nuggets are healthy, which, I mean, McDonald's chicken nuggets, how much chicken? You know what? I'm not going to say that they're healthy, but that's fine. I'm going to be going there anyway. So Sia's going to get some chicken nuggets. I'm going to get some sausage. I'll get like a sausage and egg McMuffin or a couple of them. And I'll see you guys back at 2 o'clock. Good luck.
All right, guys. Yeah, Sia is in the house. Thank you very much, Anil. Excellent lesson of the day. I really do like the talk there about your bias, but having to kind of roll with the punches, see what the market is giving you. I really like that lesson of the day. And if you like what you heard, guys, you got to join us every day right around that noon hour. That's when Neil does his lesson of the day. And yeah, there's a lot of wisdom in those lessons, so it behooves you to be with us around that time. All right, let's get back right to work. I'm still holding RPGL over here. Now, it hasn't come into my buy zone, but my buy zone has now changed, okay, as the price action has developed. I'm going to be looking for a possible 70 penny hold. I see this current kind of chop that we're in as the sort of the flag component of a bull flag. We know what the bull flag looks like, right? It's a big move up, a couple of candles, maybe 3, maybe 1, really depending on the velocity of how we went up. And then there's a consolidation, a sideways chop. Sometimes it tilts upward, sometimes it tilts downward. Sometimes it's a compression with higher lows and lower highs. No 2 bull flags created equal. So I kind of feel we're caught in that right now. Now, I want to see where the base ends up establishing. Is it a 70 penny base, or is my previous area that I spoke about, 65 pennies, going to come back in and get tested? We're going to wait and see. But there's a whole lot has happened since Adair did happening now, and Neil's lesson of the day. Case in point, BNAI has awoken, and it is all sorts of aggressive. It is now up, I want to say 90% on the day. In fact, it is 90 3/4. It is still off the high of the day, which is 245. But as you can see over here, it's 249, excuse me. But as you can see, we had a bit of a double top here on the 5-minute chart at 240. So even though it is essentially a 250 high a day, I'd like to see how this one acts around the 40 penny level. We're going to keep a close eye here on BNAI as it's setting up super nice. DXYZ, I still haven't seen why this thing is moving, but we know that, it holds a lot of these private companies in its portfolio, so you never really know. Maybe somebody's trying to build up a position in SpaceX or something pre-IPO, and they're using DXYZ as sort of a vicarious vehicle with which to get in. Anyway, $32 is where the 10 EMA is. You have a couple of topping tail candles also that show that $32 could be important. It's showing $32.56 at the moment. SIDU. SID freaking U. This one is the gift that keeps on giving, at least for the patient traders. It is up another 34% today. 245 was the flat top that we spoke about, but that 245 is come and gone, man. It is now a 262 high a day, and is putting in higher lows and higher highs with a pattern unbroken. Now, 245 is the flat top break that we spoke about, but the new levels that I want to bring to your attention are the $0.50, often a psychological area of support and resistance, so that has to be in play for you as well if you want to get into SIDU. 50 pennies. In addition to that, it could be a buy zone. The reason I say that, 50 pennies, psychological support, but the 10 EMA often followed by some of these algorithmic traders. 248 currently, that could adjust as the price action develops a little bit more. So SIDU should be in focus for the small cap traders. So is BNAI, RPGL if you're okay with trading these sub $1 stocks, DXYZ if you're okay flying blind into why this thing is breaking out, but it is breaking out, and there's no ands or buts about that. GLSI is the one that I've really liked the look of this one, and I've been very hesitant to pull the trigger on for a number of reasons. One, price. Two, spread. And number three, it just, it's got a lot of topping tail candles here north of 2650. So I'm feeling that the short sellers and or the profit takers are kind of using this 2650 as their exit or their entry if they're short sellers, of course, right? Because you don't typically get these topping tail candles in this fashion, which are in a very distinct pattern here of sequentially lower highs. Each and every topping tail candle in and around that 26 and a half, 26 and 2/3 is a little bit has a lower high than its predecessor candle. So that makes me feel like there could be some short sellers setting up here. I like 25 and a quarter for this flat top break over here. What happened, Ram? Oh. Get it, Ram. It's okay. It is, it's a shortened holiday week. We can make some mistakes here, Obi. Not a big deal, Ram included. Ram, I have questions. The people want to know. You often receive very lucrative gifts from hubby, right? We've heard about cell phones. We've heard about other things. We don't have to talk about all of them. What did hubby, if at all, get you this past Christmas? The people want to hear.
I got some
Are we gonna pan over to her? Like, what's?
Can you hear her?
I think no, I don't think so.
We can't. I have to fix the setting.
It's
But
okay,
I got
go
some
ahead.
Miu Miu sunglasses.
Okay.
They're not here yet, but I got a receipt that they're ordering.
What kind of sunglasses, Ram?
Miu Miu. Search it up. Miu Miu. It's like a
How do I
sister-
spell that?
MIU. It's like a sister brand of Prada.
M-I-U?
You know, because I lost my Versace's, I can't find my
Miu glasses,
Versace's.
sunglasses. I'm assuming those are expensive, and I'm already seeing that they very much are. Nice. Okay. So not even sunglasses, Obi. You just want, the shell. It's 543 Canadian dollars.
Damn.
So, yeah, Ram, she gets very good gifts, and that's not something that any of us are surprised about.
You know about the
taste, so.
You know about the fugazi of the glasses game, right?
Let's hear it.
There's like one company that basically runs. Okay, that stopped me out. So let me just talk about silver real quick before I get to the glasses. So silver came into VWAP right there. I tried it once, stop out, comes right back in. I'm like, all right, I gotta take a little bit more than I did before because it's actually coming in now. Comes into the moving average. Again, it's in an uptrend. It's looking distinctly different. Again, want to keep in mind that 64 action was a little bit significant, and it took us all the way back to VWAP. So I'm like, all right, that's a trade right there. A little bit of gold capitulation. I don't know about silver, but gold capitulation took the silver to VWAP, if that makes sense. I have no idea, but the sector has been kind of, or the theme has been bidding, right? So come in, take the short. I am pretty nimble on the outs there, and then leave that last bid on back into 75s. But again, I got to give it to that prior high. The prior high, wasn't willing to do that. I just had a flat stop in for the break of, I think, 70s, early 70s, and that got me out right there. But right back into VWAP as of right now. So again, I'm waiting. I could be very wrong, right? I don't know. but waiting for those sellers to kind of show themselves. If they're not going to be there, then maybe a sustain on top of this structure from the morning for a push even higher on silver. And SIDU, yeah, that thing worked out, man. It stopped me out, and it didn't really stop me out with my stop. I was just like, yeah, this is taking too long for me. And then just punch out for pretty much break even. I think I had like half a penny loss. So that's a beautiful thing about some of these. You can take half a penny hit, and then yeah, it doesn't even get back to 45. So Sharif and I were talking about this. We were just like, yeah, edge on the 45. Once you get in, maybe risk a penny because you're expecting it to go right away. 45s gives you 60s. So yeah, pretty decent push on that. But yeah, pretty much a top-down monopoly on the glasses game from a company called
Luxottica?
Luxottica. So Luxottica, basically, they own a bunch of, was it Sun? What are they called? Not Sunwing. The stores.
Sunglass Hut.
Sunglass Hut.
Yep.
So they own a bunch of those. They own the production. They own the production game, and then they also own some of the opticians.
Really?
Opticians as
So
well.
they're like,
so they're just like a top-down, beautiful model, and literally the CEO has been heard saying this. It's like, something's worth what people are willing to pay. So it's just like it's the fugazi of perspective of being like, it's funny enough, in the same factory they'll print no names versus something like a Prada.
Yeah.
Right. So they'll have the same machine, like making the glasses. It's made of plastic, right?
And the price difference.
And then one of them will just be like Prada, and then the other one will be absolutely nada. So and then and then they just go off. One is maybe priced at like 4 or 5 bills, and the other one's priced at like $50. So it's like, who's really getting played here?
Exactly.
I don't know. So it is what it is. People like to walk around with some nice things. And
she's like, not me, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But it's just, I don't like being sold to. That's my biggest thing. And yeah, so glasses game definitely is a bit of a thing. Once I found that out, I was just like, all right, let me find the suppliers. Let me figure out where the stuff comes from, and let me just find the guy who will give it to me for much less. And you know what I mean?
There you go, bro.
And it's like it's glasses break all the time.
Exactly.
They're like disposable.
Yeah. I haven't bought a pair of sunglasses in a long time. We'll talk more about this sunglass story when we get back from Midday at the big desk.
Keep an eye on PATH, guys. This is, of course, UiPath Paradigm, naming this one a top pick of 2026, saying it is, quote, the one most bullish stock here out of anything on the market. So again, PATH getting a long call here, pulling back a little bit, but nice pop today and also earlier as well. Back to you.
I see SIDU, man. I haven't set up on SIDU. I was looking for a move back into the $0.50, guys, on SIDU, but it's just too strong, too much liquidity, and yeah, too many people know about this. Now it is stair-stepping up every single candle since. This candle over here at 11:45 has higher highs, so we are very much on the uptrend. Now, let's do a little TA based on Friday's price action. Where can we encounter resistance? I'm going to go ahead and say the first area that I'd really be looking for, a serious area of resistance, is going to be between 280 to 285. Maybe even you want to drop that down a little bit more, maybe 75 to 85. The reason, look at that flat bottom that we had during the pre-market, which couldn't get breached, right? Obviously, the bell rang, we popped up, and then all hell broke loose to the downside. We ended up giving it up. We've recovered a lot of that. So I'm looking here, 80. And look at this 80 penny level got tested on the bounce back. So we dropped down into 60, popped back up, held that pre-market bottom shelf as resistance at 80, right at 1120 on Friday. So I'm expecting some resistance there. Now, if it gets by 80, we're looking at 3, obviously, as the whole dollar. But SIDU looking awfully good over here, rocketing up. And it's up 36% here after having multiple days in Greensville. So did GLSI. Now, I didn't want to set up on this because I didn't like the spread. I didn't like the price. There was a lot I didn't like about this. And I also mentioned these topping tail candles. It felt like, they were each topping tail candle a little bit lower than its predecessor candle, which felt like the shorts were setting up. I was all sorts of wrong. This thing rocketed up basically into $27, 26.97 high, and it's showing me 30s right now, so there's some profit taking coming in, but GLSI, it's got to be in focus here if you're a small cap gapper inclined. Otherwise, it's just really the SIDU show. I'm still looking for anything here on DXYZ. Nothing has shown up on my blotter. I'm going to double check that again. Just notifications about price spikes up and down, but nothing of substance to explain why we are setting up. BNAI though, Bovin, I want to know what your opinion, Bovin, on BNAI. Is there anybody who's small cap gapper inclined right now in the chat? Because we've been kind of respecting this uptrend, I want to say since 11:10. Right, we put in a nice little uptrend there, and most recently, it does look like it is finding support generally at that 10 EMA on the 5. It does have these topping tail candles, which shows that sellers are seeing this initial, price action top over here at around 230, 2 1/3. But I also see the buyers stepping in at higher and higher levels every single time we drop vis-a-vis these higher lows. So BNAI. I'm interested here to hear what people are saying. You got Amoy 9411. He says BNAI looking for a new high of day in a 255. I happen to like that look, especially with that 249 high. I don't know why you stopped at 55 though, brother. Are you seeing something on the wider time frame that shows 55? Let me know, man. What else? Farm trader BNAI could go to 250, but also a short above, he says. Okay, that's interesting. Well, we got a 249 high, so that does check out. We'll see what BNAI has to offer. I think I could weasel into it with a tight stop, but it is the SIDU show, right back into that 265 high of day. We'll talk about that and many others when we get back from Adara at the big desk.
All right, guys. So for too long, trading meant risking your own money or never having enough to start. The fear of losing, that's what kept so many traders on the sidelines. That's changing. Trade the Pool is transforming how traders access the markets. With its limited risk trading model, traders use funded capital while Trade the Pool absorbs the downside. This allows traders to focus on what truly matters. That's discipline, consistency, and growth. When you hit the profit target, you keep 70% of the profits. No fear, no barriers, just real opportunity.
I hate fear.
This is the revolution of limited risk trading, powered by Trade the Pool. Visit tradethepool.com or scan the QR code now to get 10% off your first evaluation. There goes silver, man.
Yeah.
Damn. I just was looking away, and there's the bit of a quadrupole candle break of trend. Markets coming in as well. So 70s, that was the place. I was involved. And then got me out on the retest, but comes right back in. My job is to get right back in. Doesn't matter if it takes me out. Get back in because the trade is on now. But 40s, I was thinking about it in the 40s, and then slam 20 pennies down into 65 teens now on silver as we're pulling back. The market's breaking consolidation lows as well right now. So the short on silver coming in a little bit. Let's see if we make a higher low. We've made a low at 64s, made a higher low at 64.60s. Let's see if we can make anything higher. 65 is what I'm looking at. And right now we're printing below the quarter. So I'm going to ask the age-old question.
Yes, sir.
Can you hold the quarter and then print the half? If you can't, then maybe we got something on our hands here, but we'll see. The short, that's absolutely nice. I definitely covered a little too early, but got to get back in. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, sure, cover, be nimble. It's a little chop, but getting back in is the next trade there on SLV. SIDU is definitely going, man. I was like, where's the next structure high? And I see 82s if you look at prior day on SIDU. Bit of a miss on my part, not staying involved, not giving it the appropriate risk to below 45s as of right now. So let's wait and see. These are the two names that I'm watching right now. Let me know in the chat, what are the other names in the market you guys are watching on a day like today where, yeah, there isn't too much going on, nothing too crazy. Somebody in the chat earlier was asking, I think, about Rocket Lab. Let me go back. I think we missed a super chat here. Shaned asked earlier, Ovi, what's your take on RKLB? Is it going higher? Dude, I don't know what the market's going to do. I have no idea. If I think I know, then probably, it doesn't matter. RKLB, let's see what it's doing. I just like to go with the flow, see what the chart is telling me. Can I effectively read some of the chart and the price action and be nimble enough to listen to what it's telling me and take trades off of it, right? So right here we got up. So I did look at it earlier. I just didn't mention it, but we had a strong push off of the open pre-market high. Look at that nice consolidation. That 69.5. Nice break was pretty nice right off of the open. That gave you 72.5. So that's a decent chunk of action there. But it comes right into, take a look at this, prior day, strong selling, definitely doing some sort of volume, maybe not relative volume, but definitely doing strong volume in the morning session. The volume dies off, and throughout the day we make a bit of a range here. Let's see, let's just measure the highs to this range low right there. That's not working out pretty well, but let's just, okay, cool. So the high is 72.66s, range low is 70.89s. We come in after the strong bid, guess what? We're making the same range again today. So whether you're long or short, it doesn't matter. Reason to sell, reason to potentially buy, and if we break below this, reason to sell once again. And we're breaking below the range low right now, and market tailwind's definitely there as well. But that, I guess, reversion or the breakout as well, there's definitely a little bit to be had here on RKLB. Bigger picture, let's take a quick look at this one. Let's see what the hourlies are telling us here on Rocket Lab. Okay, all right, so we had a strong push over the course of half of the month. So December 18th, we get a strong bid, break of this high 65s right there, pushes us all the way to 79s. Now we're pulling back below this kind of consolidation where we did get higher highs. Guess what? We false broke this high. We attempted to push higher, slam right back in, break of trend, break of consolidation low. Now we're holding that consolidation low, which was yesterday. I want to remind you again, yesterday's consolidation high as well. We're breaking that and holding as a resistance. So this is potentially what I see this as an example of a recent support turned into a resistance. So that's happening there as well. Silver, don't do me like that. That thing is coming right back in.
Neil just walks in with the most guilty look on his face.
Boom.
It's so funny.
Right,
and I
got
knew
some MCD
I didn't even
in the
see
house.
what he had in his hand. I just saw the look in his eyes, right? He was
bag. I'm just like, I'm looking at MCD right now.
Yes,
Let's take a look at what MCD is.
hold on. I got to cover this.
Right here, boom. Yeah,
I got to cover this.
Go for it.
RPGL is taking out highs. We just went the beak at 82. The breakout is on now on RPGL. Hold structure beautifully. I sadly didn't get to add. I still had a bias at that 65 penny area would come in. It ended up being a 70 penny area defend, and boy, did it defend quite aggressively, only being breached once, and that was the candle there at 12:15. Otherwise, it was a very, very clean hold on RPGL. Let's see, man. It's an 85.56 high a day. I wet the beak at 82. We're still holding a piece over here, so let's see what this one has to offer. I also want to point your attention to, I got into quickly, by the way, on BNAI, but essentially broke even, not even break even, took a 3 penny hit on BNAI as it didn't hold prior bar low. I'm going to look to set up a little bit more strategically, let's put it that way, on BNAI if it continues to hold in this way. DXYZ though, I want to take off GLSI. I want to look at DXYZ, even though, no, we're not going to take off GLSI here because it's a really good looker. We're going to leave that bad boy on there. We're going to take off, SLS is looking real good too, man. So who's not looking that good? BNAI I want to set up on, I said SLS. Okay, so we're going to take off MDLN, that's the IPO from a few weeks ago. And I want to put in, what's this one called? DXYZ. Is this on the NQ? No, it's on the New York. Okay, fine. So right now it's about a 30 penny-ish spread, a little bit tighter than that, but 28 pennies. But it just put in an aggressive bottoming tail hammer candle currently on the 5. It hasn't quite closed. It's got 3 more minutes, so it could fundamentally change its look. But the deal is, if it takes out prior bar high at 32.80, your boy's getting long. Okay, because it doesn't even look like an aggressive downtrend given the price action. Here's what I'm seeing. This is not an aggressive retracement. This is very much a very bullish retracement. So if we were to do fibs, just for the purpose of showing the percentage of retracement, not for anything else, into that 32.98, where basically the closing prints are holding at around 76.4, with the bottom coming in at 61.8. So that's very bullish. We didn't get into 32, which would have been a 50% retracement. Again, I'm just looking at this to show you, to kind of make the point in service of a larger point here, is that yes, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This could be 6 red candles in a row, but the percentage retracement off the breakout area at $31 is not all that bad. So I'm interested here in DXYZ, but I'll take it above prior bar high to show me that the buyers are stepping in. So DXYZ in focus for me, despite the fact that I still don't know why the hell it's up. GLSI, I didn't want to take off because it just keeps making higher highs into 2670. And RPGL, my best winner on the day. Let's see if this one continues to go here above 85 and works its way into $1. It's up 210%, man. So you really can't complain about that. SIDU, SIDU, look, it's still putting in higher lows and higher highs. Every time I look, current bar is a little bit above its predecessor, and that has been the case essentially since 11:45. So we are now 50 minutes deep into this unabated uptrend into the 2/3 of $1. Again, I still have a bias here that we could encounter resistance between 80 to 85 pennies, but we haven't even quite made it up there yet. And to show you how real bullish this bad boy is, Jesus, that smells good, Neil. Oh my goodness. To give you an idea how bullish this is, we haven't touched the 10 EMA on the 5 since 1150. All the closing prints, wicks or otherwise, have been above that 10 EMA. So the buyers are stepping in here, front running the level and picking it up at higher and higher levels every single time. As always, guys, you know, it's hard for me to always keep an eye on the chat, the charts, execute these trades, and then also keep my eye on the scanner. So if there are any new small cap gappers, please bring it to my attention, or Obi, and then we'll cover it for you, of course. And if it fits our profile, we'll trade it. Last but not least, Ob, SLS is not really the biggest mover on the day, 12 1/3%. But every time Bovin messages me, he's like, SLS at another high day, and his point is very well taken. 324 high a day. This one flat top broke through 3. So you're already nicely in the money if you had the compunction to take that $3 breakout there and print up multiple storms. I'm still holding several pieces here on RPGL with a bias that this could hit $1 or come close to $1. So we're going to be packing the patience there, but we're also going to be looking at SIDU, DXYZ, and SLS to see if we can get in on these.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm definitely watching this SIDU very closely. Silver as well, back down to 65. So yeah, kind of giving us about 70, 80 pennies off of VWAP there. So absolutely beautiful pullback here on SLV. Let's kind of, maybe I want to define a little bit of trend here on the day, just using simple trend lines right here. There's 0.1, there's 0.2, if it'll stick right there. And we kind of broke that as well. And that's coming in at 65.25s here. Let's see what SIDU's up to. Well, the high is what, 68? Okay, cool. I do want to watch the 65 hold. Maybe this is where we make the higher low, right? This is just an arbitrary line on the chart that I've drawn, right? I forget who it was in the chat one time, but I've stuck with that phrase. ACA, arbitrary chart art, is what some of this sometimes looks like here. So I do want to kind of avoid that here as well. But SIDU coming up into 68s and pulling right back in. So yeah, close eyes on this one. Let's see if it breaks trend. And I definitely agree with you, Sharif.
Sir.
Looking for a bit of a resistance here. Is there some turbulence that we get in this area? Because prior day, if you look at this little consolidation, all the way from, I think the consolidation highs is like 82s or 88s, all the way down to 59. So we're just teetering on top of that 59 as of right now, but holding trend pretty well on this one. So let's see if this continues. Again, using moving averages, using whatever you want to kind of define trend. It's holding a bunch of different indicators right now. So players definitely still involved potentially. No strong reason to sell, I would say at the very least on this one just yet. But I don't know if you were trading this one on Friday, Sharif, but
Sure.
That Quadunk candle that came in, when was that? Was that off of imbalances on SIDU?
Probably wouldn't have been.
let's see. Or no, I think, yeah, 245. They released something about, I think it was like an offering or something. It was some sort of news. I don't remember. I remember Sean called it out as well because he was watching it. But yeah, I don't remember what specifically it was. But yeah, SIDU, watching this for a potential perspective.
The news story,
Yes,
Obi there, just to let you guys know what it was. It was a $16.2 million best efforts offering of 10.8 million Class A shares at $1.50 each. So that was the specifics.
$1.50 offering. All right, so that got slapped a little bit. And silver getting slapped below 65s right now, pulling back in. So yeah, it seems like that was the place, man, giving us $1 now on that pullback from VWAP on silver. Again, it's done 109. I said this morning this is going to do at least 150 million shares by the end of the day. Man, it's 12 o'clock. It's 12:39. We might actually end up doing a little bit more, but I'm waiting. I'm watching. I'm being patient. We'll see what happens here on silver. Again, everybody's kind of looking at it. Everybody's talking about it. So yeah, a little crowded to the long side potentially. You know, you don't want to chase this move here near the end, or what might be the end. I have no idea. But yeah, decent short opportunities and potentially long opportunities as well. You gotta be nimble. You gotta go both ways. You know, when the bid is there, it's definitely bidding up. When the selling is there, it's definitely kind of selling off pretty decently. So prior structure here. What is this low? That low is 64.57. Day low 63.93 here on SLV. Let's see if we can crack and go even lower on SLV. Let's take a look at gold because I do want to keep an eye on gold here. Yeah, there you go. Gold pulling right back in as well. Interesting hold of this anchored. I don't know where that's from, but yeah, throw it up on the 15. It'll probably disappear. Yeah, exactly. Because that's not the frame that I initially probably drew that anchored on. But sometimes things look nice on a chart. Let's see. Okay, cool. SIDU, I'm watching real close, man. Real close. This thing could crack. You know,
Coming into the 10
I'm willing to give it a little bit of room here on the day. Let's see. What is the high? Bing bang. Yeah. Okay. Cool. We'll try that out. See if that works.
All right.
But yeah, let's see if that can potentially come into prior structure. 50s is this kind of consolidation from before. And we did now break a little bit of trend on a few time frames. So we'll wait and watch. We'll see if it can effectively crack this 59. Again, prior structure from prior day. We did kind of consolidate, hold a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Taking shots and trying to figure this out at the same time. So we'll see. That's all I really have on watch here. But yeah, what are you guys talking about? SPY continuing to go down.
Let me just cover a super chat, but
yeah,
that's cool. ARTV, thank you, Jim Z1Q1V, $5 super chat. My man's dropping cash in the chat. We do appreciate it, of course. So ARTV is not something I would trade intraday, guys. It is up 4.5%. It's got a market cap of $107 million. The volume today is quite light as well. It's about 99,000 shares. It just did 100,000 now, so congratulations. But I don't think that's why you're asking me for it. Now, clearly, it has an established base around here since the 23rd of December. It looks as if that base is around 420 to 415. I'd say that's a bit of a buy zone. And that's been a consolidation area bottom. But as you view it, this consolidation area top looks to be equally as important. And in fact, this 445 consolidation area top was also, momentarily an area of previous support back on the 22nd. So I don't know if that's what you're asking me to look at it intraday or whether you want a wider time frame. In any event, I'm going to show it to you either way. And this one is one that I obviously had previously here, ARTV, because I had the ticker previously put on. So let's do a little bit of TA here. So since we have bottomed, I want to say in June at around that $1.50, it has been a nice series of higher lows with this area back in mid-September being another area low at 2.25. And then this area here in early December being another area low into $3. Now, you're probably looking at these topping tail candles like, what the hell is going on? How come it makes a move and then drops right back down? Well, that is typical of, I would say, the chart on these small cap gappers, the ones that run, I should say, intraday, and then either revert that same day or revert the subsequent days, this is very much what their daily chart looks like. And that's how we can spot them. You know, to say that they're former runners, we jokingly call them former convicts in a very good way. I don't know if that's possible to say in a very good way, but the point is, when I look at the daily chart of these small cap gappers, a lot of them look like that. Now, I don't know what your plan is with this, whether you're looking to hold it, swing it. I know it's a biotech company here, Artiva Biotherapeutics, clinical stage biotech company focused on developing natural killer, NK, cell-based therapies. You ever heard about that, Oben?
Of course.
I have no idea. Patients suffering from devastating autoimmune diseases and cancers. You've got to love the focus of the company, but you know how these biotechs are. You know, I don't want to call them lottery tickets, but they're very much similar to that. If they have successful trials, then they rocket. They don't, they plummet. So ARTV, I like the higher lows. I'd personally, if you're investing in this, be building my position based on this lower trend line here. I would look for the continuation of higher lows. If that was to break, I think that would get me out of the trade. If you're looking intraday, I've got nothing to offer you intraday. There's just not enough volume, not enough price action. As you can see, it looks like very, very sparsely traded. Thank you for the super chat. Also, I was asked by somebody else to look at VG. Venture Global up 0.86, not a small cap gapper at all. This thing's 17.25 billion in market cap. Intraday, I hate it. 695 area close on Friday. It's really got nothing to offer intraday unless you're looking for more of a buyout trade, taking a penny or two here and there. But the daily, it's a no good. It's a no good. Yes, I don't like this at all. It broke area lows that took us back to the tariff tantrum in early April when this thing had a low of, pardon me, 675. It did breach that now. It made new area lows, I believe, into 583. And this looks like to be an uninterrupted downtrend over here. So VG, Venture Global, what does this company do? Profile. It's not even telling me about overview. Nothing. I got nothing on this. Maybe because it's a little newer, I think. Well, not even, man. It's like a year old. Come on, IB. I don't like the chart. I don't really have much other to say about their operations because I really don't have a good view on that. But VG is not for me intraday or on the daily. I do apologize. I'm probably not what you're looking to hear. BNAI now, everybody's saying. Yeah, it keeps taking out highs. So let's get involved here. We know that there's a seller at 30. And we will encounter some resistance between the $0.25 to 30, given what we did over here. Just keep that in mind. This area did have a bit of a resistance zone. I want to say between the $0.25 to the third of a dollar. And here we are. We're working up. We're looking good. Let's see what we get on this one. I want to possibly get in more here on RPGL. So we got a new high day, by the way. 86.30 is the high of the day. It was 85 and change. But it's coming back down into the 10 EMA. And the 10 EMA is a little bit above that $0.75, around 75 pennies. So not a bad look here for a possible add on RPGL, which is held structure, to use an OB term, essentially all morning. And, you know, 86 1/3 pennies, this one could realistically see the dollar. So if you're already in, if you're not involved yet, you possibly, and I'm saying possibly here, and I really want to emphasize that, you have a possible 20% up move into that dollar. We're trading at 80, 81 pennies. So you can see that nice move up there. SIDU as well, coming into the 10 EMA on the 5. Do I have SIDU up? I don't think I do, so let's load it up over here. 10 EMA on the 5, and now this current candle has a higher low as well as a higher high, and the prior candle at 1240 that did breach a 10 EMA was a doji candle, a candle of indecision, or otherwise known possibly as a reversal candle. And here we go on the SIDU. We're going to start a smaller position over here. We're going to look for prior bar low to, current bar low to hold. We're looking for trend. That takes me down to 259. We'll put it at 58. We get stopped out. We get stopped out. We're going to give this one the old college try on SIDU. 68 penny high. That means my first profit taker goes at 69. So by definition, it will have to be a high of day break for me to print up anything here on the SIDU. SLS continuing to go, says the OG Bovin, and he is absolutely right. In the 331 goes SLS. So this one very, very strong. You like the Mercedes SLS?
Oh, yeah. Nice,
I'm gonna
sleek.
have to show that.
But,
Mercedes SLS. So
I don't know what
very
the new
few.
ones look like.
You know your boy Ryan Wedding had one of these, eh?
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he's like that Canadian Olympian who turned like big-time drug dealer, and he's being protected by the Sinaloa cartel in Mexico. He was like an Olympic snowboarder for Canada, I think in 2002 Salt Lake City Games.
Okay.
And now he's like one of the world's biggest drug dealers. It makes absolute sense, Obi. I don't want you to question or anything like that. But this is what they seized one of his cars in Mexico.
There's one parked in I think by Wellesley Station on the other side, maybe in front of one of the condos. Yeah, I saw that one. Gold wrap on that one. Looked pretty nice. Gold wrap. I like the low profile on it. You know.
I like that too. But, all right, we have to send it to Adair at the big desk.
Part of the show is brought to you by our friends at Beta Pro by Global X Canada, because we have some exciting news out of Canada for the sophisticated traders on the stream. Beta Pro by Global X Canada, which happens to be Canada's largest provider of leverage, inverse, and inverse leveraged ETFs, well, they have just launched 6 new triple leveraged ETFs. These offer 3 times bull and 3 times bear exposure to the S&P TSX 60, semiconductors, and even U.S. Treasuries. But guys, even better, they're offering a special fee rebate, which drops management fees to just 65 basis points, but you only have a couple more days because this ends on December 31st of 2025. So literally 3 days from now. Plus, these U.S.-focused strategies use currency hedging, which offers the potential for pure performance and exposure. So if you are a tactical and sophisticated trader who's looking to amplify your performance, check out betapro.ca/3xdaily to learn more. Back to you.
No, you've never seen this guy? They call him Giant because he's like literally, I think, 6'4". He's impossible to miss. Yeah. And he's like this big jack dude. I think he was like, Fabian. And apparently the rumor is that he's likely in Mexico and he's under the protection of the Sinaloa cartel because he's moving all the product for them over here. And
moving that product.
Yeah, and you ever heard of Cocaine Lawyer?
No.
Well, you would be surprised. Cocaine Lawyer. So that was his lawyer over here in Toronto. So this cocaine lawyer guy apparently advised him to off some people who were witnesses against him, and they caught the lawyer, which is very hard to get, by the way, taps on the lawyer's phone because of client, solicitor, or whatever lawyer-client privilege, right?
That's crazy.
So they got the tap. They heard this guy, allegedly, of course. We always have to use that word. Advise Wedding to off some witnesses at a trial. And so they booked this cocaine lawyer guy. They booked him, and then they gave him bail. His wife had to ante up $5 million for him to get out. So now they're like, you know what the judge said? He's like, sadly, it is more likely the case that he's safer on the inside than the outside, basically saying that they're likely going to come after him and off him as well. So we'll have to see how that all works out. It's
that's such a crazy story, man. That's absolutely
you got to see what this guy looks like, bro. The crazy story is just starting.
I think I might have seen the picture of the lawyer on scrolling through Instagram recently because So he's a bald guy.
No, he's got a head of hair, bro.
Okay, it might be someone else then. Interesting story. Absolutely wild, man. Some of the trouble people get themselves into. Day after day, the evidence proves to me even more that this is very much a simulation. So, that's what it is. I wear the tinfoil suit. So.
You like that?
There's a bit of a bid coming in here on the market. SIDU's holding up pretty well here. So I'm kind of watching it.
Nice.
I'm trying to be nimble here.
You got it short. Oh, no. I'm flattening out, man. I don't want to go against you.
Come on, no, don't do that.
I don't want to go against you.
You see what you see, I see what I see. Listen, you look at this stuff a lot more than I do.
I don't know, man.
I got to give you the
one.
credit. But I'm just watching it. Listen, I'm kind of being nimble, not crazy sized. I don't normally trade stuff like this very often. So, I'm sized accordingly. Fair. Let's just say that. But silver is the real push here that I'm watching. 65, if 65s can hold, oh boy, We'll see if we can get back up to VWAP there. But that's the one I'm really have a close eye on is silver. With the market bidding back up, we could get that tailwind. And I was talking about kind of holding higher off of this 64 action. We held 64.60s. Now we're holding 64.80s, 65s-ish is where we're trading at right now. So watching it very closely here on SLV. Roger saying, just say no to international drug smuggling. Yeah, man, for sure. What are you scrolling? What do you mean? What am I scrolling? Scrolling on, you're talking about scrolling on Instagram. Maybe is that what you mean? I don't know, man. Things get recommended here and there. I think it was it, what's that, World Star? World Star is what I was looking at. And I think they had it there. On there. Okay, boom. I don't want to be in there. See, this is what I mean. Look at SIDU. This is what I mean, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Just want to get out. Don't need to be in for longer than I really need to, right? So I'm just like, yeah, if it's going to rip up into the high, I'll get out. That's fine. Where's the next trade? Maybe it kind of wicks in and comes back in. I don't know. These things play a lot of games.
Oh,
right?
They do.
There are people who kind of are, again, tinfoil soup, but this kind of participant does exist, and there are people who are, have an incentive to rig the price action.
They do.
So
that's their bread and butter.
Exactly. So you gotta watch out for that. You gotta learn how they play as well, and kind of do a little bit of a sidestepping around that. But again, a lot of people say that there's less participants. That's why the small caps definitely have a lot more edge. We talked about
Joe,
we talked about
you
this.
and I talked about this as well off camera.
The thing is, why I like my large caps is like people can't necessarily come in and do things like that as easily. I'm not saying it doesn't happen there, but it's like it's not as easy to corner the float on something like an Amazon or an Apple.
But can I say something? I feel the bamboozlement on the big names. Yeah. It's like hidden a lot better than the bamboozlement on the small cappers. It'll lure you in. Whereas a small caps, if there's bamboozlement, you can typically see the bamboozlement littered throughout the chart. It's not usually a one-off event where there's someone's bamboozled. No, it would be like a consistent.
You'd be like, someone's working the stock here. You can tell. Exactly. Look at this. Look right here. This is what I'm looking at right now. Look at the bid and the ask. Look at that stack now. This is distinctly different on SIDU. As soon as I mention it, Buddy shows up. He's like, here I am. But let's put on a filter and be like, okay, cool. Yeah, look at that. The bid got taken out there, and the ask is now stacked as well. So a little bit of interesting action, to say the least, there happening. What was it? The bid was 62 by 63s there. That could be interesting. But yeah, no, other than that, I really don't have too much going on. I'm sitting on my hands. A lot of times, I mentioned this last week as well, in holiday trading when things aren't really happening, catalysts aren't really abundant, and even if a catalyst comes out, maybe we're doing low volume as well, right? So it's like, all right, how much can you really size into stuff like that? Sitting on my hands, kind of just waiting for things to fall into my lap is how I like to play the game. And I've kind of shifted more over to that in general. But yeah, Micron. Take a look at Micron. When I was talking about Micron, I traded it this morning, kind of just selling a couple of times back into VWAP. But look at this flat top breakout, man, right here. Boom, making highs at 87.70s-ish. We break out, we're pushing 290s now, 289.93. So on a flat top, just a technical break here, pushing back into some of these prior day levels here as well. That's interesting at the same time. So just watching this, silver is still chopping around 65, so I don't necessarily want to get involved just yet, but lower highs technically after VWAP, but higher lows after this 64. So it's like, okay, who's going to win? It's a little bit of a battle happening here on silver. Definitely a bit of a crowded trade, as we've been talking about on SLV. Let me check some other stocks that I did have on watch.
I just want to get Fabian's question, because I think Fabian had a question. Are they going to be able to hear you, Fabian?
Yes, they will.
Okay, great. Okay.
So as an outsider, what's the news catalyst that's going on with silver in general?
Okay, so today we're actually going to get to that on the news, Fabian. So,
all right, let's stay tuned.
It's perfect. It's a great question. But China is now basically trying to restrict some exports of silver. So that could have, supply constraints. We're going to have to see if that fundamentally changes things. But in general, these commodities typically trend for longer and more aggressively than equities, but when they turn as well. We're going to get to that. That's a great question by you. I think a lot of people have that question as well. They want to know what the hell is going on with silver. And Commodity King, I love your name, and I love that you're chiming in with that name about silver. 15 years to build a mine. Well, probably quicker in China, though, no, right? We'll have to wait and see, obviously. But yeah, I see that. Elon talking about how important silver is as well in the EV space for so many different things. We're going to talk about that. And I think we should start now, actually, because it's almost 2-1. So we're going to get right down to work over here. I've put in my stops on RPLG. I've put in my stops on SIDU. I'm only really giving SIDU like 1 penny over here. So we'll talk, if we get stopped out, then we'll see if we can get back in. But let's get to the news, because it's a whole bunch to talk about today. All right, I'm just making these a little bit bigger. We're going to talk about Tesla. Tesla is getting clipped today. The worst performing Mag 7 name, followed by Nvidia. Tesla down 1.9, Nvidia down 1.56. Not really sure if this is the real reason why Tesla is moving down, but it is not a good one. South Korean battery material supplier, we're talking about L&F Co. They disclosed that its cathode supply contract that they have with Tesla was reduced by 99%, not 50 or 25, 99%. The company cited, quote, a change in the supply quantity in its regulatory filing with the South Korean regulator, effectively nullifying what was once a major multi-year agreement with the big EV company. The contract covered high nickel cathode material, which was intended for Cybertruck batteries here, with deliveries that were supposed to be scheduled from January of 24 to this year, December of 25. According to Bloomberg, only minimal material was actually delivered, as Cybertruck production, well, it wasn't very good. As we know, they've been sitting on the lots with, apparently SpaceX is buying a lot of these, which I don't like. I don't like that kind of accounting. But apparently that is what's happening. SpaceX is buying a lot of these excess Cybertrucks. Yeah, I don't like that kind of circular crap, but he's got to deal with his issues there. Weaker than expected Cybertruck adoption pushed buyers towards Model 3s and Model Ys, according to this article, which reduced the near-term demand for these specialized battery materials. The subsidy reduction was also influenced, though, guys, by the removal of the Inflation Reduction Act subsidies put in by previous President Biden, which weakened economics for certain battery supply chains. In any event, Tesla's down now over 2%, Obi, since we started talking. What's your look on the name?
Yeah, so I think Tesla's been a solid vehicle. I talked about the kind of move that what happened in the Blue Ocean session. Absolutely beautiful. We can take a look at what that was. TSLA. Where are the boats at? Let's go surfing. But yeah, take a look at this. Just off of the open there. Nice little quadunk on great volume. Absolutely beautiful. And then look at this slow, steady reversion that does come in all the way up into VWAP and then some. But again, some of the reversions in Blue Ocean take a long while. But 467 was the low there. And then coming into today's session, take a look at this. 467s. Guess what? Holding. As pre-market highs, structure highs in the morning, can't really get too far above that. Now we're trading much lower as well. So a bit of a sideways range here, but definitely giving you the legs for opportunity here on Tesla. And funny thing about that, you're saying that SpaceX is buying these Cybertrucks, right?
That's what I heard. I mean, I've personally seen it before.
Okay, but yeah. Here's my thing. I started laughing right away because I'm just like, is this thing equipped to like for what do you say? Effective terrain on Mars?
I don't know.
Because it looks like a space vehicle. What if they're just stacking up? Maybe that's the bigger picture game. It's like, okay, we sell some inventory and then pull in. Fabian's saying it can barely do off-roading here. I don't know what the off-roading capabilities of that is. They all break apparently. Okay, but it's interesting. Didn't that one a Cybertruck like blow up and then everybody inside was perfectly fine?
I don't know. I've seen it in accidents before.
Yeah.
It seems to fare.
That thing is a tank, right?
It is.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to, exactly. I mean, that just goes to show, wow, here comes Tesla slamming right back in through 465s.
They must have heard us talking
yeah, exactly. They must have heard me talking about this one. Definitely a little bit of, I don't know if it's a moon landing or a Mars landing, but it's trying to land back into this prior support area, opening range lows here on Tesla. There goes silver with a little bit of, okay, no, never mind. It's just chopping around 65. I thought it broke this low here, but maybe that's coming in. What do you got going on?
BNAI is breaking out, guys. The top absolutely got ripped off, that $0.50. There it is into 263. Shut it to Bovin. BNAI doing its thing. It is now up over 100% to the tune of 115 and going. If you're looking for these small cap gappers or you like trading them, this one is certainly one to keep your eye out on. I'm flattening out my position here on RPGL as that one continues to bleed its own blood, and I don't really want to be following it while I'm doing the news. But there it goes again. BNAI into another high of the day, into 71s. This one could be on the way to 3, up 123% now. Keep your eye out on this one. SLS is breaking out. GLSI is breaking out. It's a good day for some of these small cap gappers today, especially with the market a little quiet and a little red. Let's go on to the next story, of course. Nvidia. A nice bullish kind of comment today from Bernstein. We'll get to that, but also completing the tie-up with Intel. We'll cover both. So analysts apparently are still bullish on Nvidia, with the street's average price implying a 38% upside from the closing print on Friday. That is the average, of course, of all the analysts that cover it. And then you take the average there, reinforcing their position as the top large cap AI leader going into next year. Analysts continue to view Nvidia, of course, as the core infrastructure provider for large scale AI. Now, with respect to the Intel component of the headline, they did complete the purchase of over 214.7 million Intel shares, investing roughly $5 billion at $23.28 per share, as we reported to you guys in September. The U.S. antitrust agencies all gave the nod for the deal to go ahead earlier this month. We also reported to you guys about that. So Intel up, I want to say 0.44, kind of the different look for NVIDIA. Bernstein, though, Stacy Raskin, he reiterated the buy on NVIDIA with a $275 price target following discussions with NVIDIA's investor relations team. Here's what I want to mention. We got a story last week that NVIDIA looked at, for the second time, Intel's 18A node. They decided not to go ahead with it. They didn't give reasons, but previous assessments of this 18A node technology, they said, previous assessments by NVIDIA of it, they said the yield was a problem, meaning that the amount of actual chips you can get off the wafer, okay? The yield is the percentage of, how well you're able to get that on the wafer. They forewent that. So they're saying Taiwan Semiconductor, still a better technology. But a lot of analysts feel that is kind of a scapegoat by NVIDIA for not going with Intel. A lot of analysts believe because Intel is still in the chip design as well as now in the chip fabrication business, NVIDIA doesn't want to trust a local American rival with the secret sauce, as to use an OB term. They don't really want to give them a look into how they design the chips and kind of give them insight into the IP that NVIDIA holds so closely to its heart. And instead, they've chosen to go with Taiwan Semi, who is strictly a fabrication company and not a chip design company, which could end up being a competitor with NVIDIA. So that is some food for thought to think about their relationship through that lens. If that obviously, and that's not going to change unless Intel gets out of the chip design business themselves and just becomes a strict fab, which they haven't said that they're going to do. So that is something to view this whole relationship. If you view it from that lens, then maybe the tie-up between NVIDIA and Intel, even if it's being pushed by American regulators, most notably Donald Trump, of course, to reshore chip production, maybe it stays at a certain level and doesn't advance past that for exactly that reason, that they remain competitors whether or not they're doing business with one another, Obi. So I just wanted to split a little bit about that, but what's your look on NVIDIA?
You said on NVIDIA?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think again, doing relative volume in the pre-market session here, kind of gap down. I don't know if it's on that news, but you can see prior day, this was I think I was here and kind of traded this pretty aggressively here. 192s was a bit of a supply area, and we saw that coming in the morning session. Got a little bit above it after in the later day there, and then pulls right back in. Imbalances drop it down to the low of the range, and then you get that continuation in the pre-market session as well. Bit of a chop range on the day today, but in terms of that, them looking at Intel and kind of being like, you know, it was a little bit of a how you say, shake and bake. They're like, yeah, we're looking at them. Intel caught a little bit of a bid, and then they were like, no, we don't want to kind of deal with them either. But I don't think that really. Yes, Intel was a little affected by it. You can take a look at how Intel kind of reacted, but it was affected by it on the initial day when we were like, okay, you know, they might be looking at. I don't remember what date that specifically was, but if I remember that correctly, just looking at the chart here, maybe that was on November 28th. But I could very well be wrong. I don't remember specifically. But again, Intel continues to do its own thing here and kind of consolidate higher and higher. Look at this range, higher highs, higher lows. We broke out of this consolidation, 27s, 25s, and we're holding above it pretty well. So even though like NVIDIA one of the top names in the market, and then adding that confluence to a name like Intel, we see that Intel is still kind of holding its own, not really as affected as of right now by that sort of news. But yeah, I think NVIDIA is going to continue to look to expand and look to try to get bigger, and acquisitions and things like that are definitely on the radar. So we got to continue looking out for more news like that. I like that type of news, especially when it comes in with a ticker that doesn't have that much of a market cap, because you need less dollar volume to move that around. So as a trader, you want to take a piece of the move. You want to how do you say, meat of the move. You want to try to take the meat of the move. You want to take a bite out of that. So yeah, exactly. So when you have a large cap, so this is one of my playbook trades. It's called large cap association trade, where a large cap comes out with some news, and we'll have a small cap or a mid cap that they're making a deal with, maybe a couple billion dollars, $1 million, whatever. Maybe they like them, they see them, and then you get that move happening on those small caps and mid caps, right? But something like an Intel is very much a large cap. Take a look at the market cap here, $173 billion market cap. You need a lot of dollar volume to move this thing around. Sure, intraday you can slap a couple mil on and maybe make it move a few ticks, but other than that, you know what I mean? Not really as affected by that news. Here comes silver coming right back in, man. Oh my God.
Also,
VWAP's the place to sell. Yeah,
exactly. Look at the silver lining.
There you go. Thank you, Fabian. Got to look at the silver lining.
Also, I should have
done that before.
Since we're on the topic of Intel and Nvidia, and I don't think we're going to get to any other chip names, I want to talk about a video that I watched on the weekend about ASML. Now, this is a company I've been involved with for a while. It is basically cornered the entire world market in extreme ultraviolet lithography machines. However, the deep ultraviolet lithography machines, Fuji, Canon, as well as the Chinese are able to duplicate. But here's what I want to mention. It is now kind of believed by a lot of people in this space that China has duplicated, not en masse, on a very small scale, the extreme ultraviolet lithography machines created by ASML. And if that's the case, apparently it was Huawei that's been involved. They're keeping it like a closely guarded secret. They're not even going to show you the yield, the results of the chips that they make with that, because they don't want to confirm the rumor. But apparently, we could expect something publicly in 27, later in 26. Now, that's good for the Chinese. It's not detrimental to ASML quite yet, because they're already looking past extreme ultraviolet lithography into the next thing. I think it's called NA or something. I forget the name of it. But I just really wanted to mention that, because that has been the key sticking point for why the Chinese can't duplicate the type of advanced chips that the Americans and Taiwanese and the Europeans, everybody's got their hands on, because of the ASML issue. Now, ASML doesn't live on its own here. It very much relies on Zeiss, which is a German company for the mirrors, which is at an atomic level of how flat and precise these mirrors are. That's another glut that China is going to have to figure out. And I didn't hear too much about the mirrors component, but I did hear about the extreme ultraviolet lithography. So if you're an investor in ASML like myself, that is something you need to be alive to, because that's something that you can wake up one morning and the Chinese, they release some sort of headline or it leaks or something, and then ASML will get clipped. It will get clipped immediately because it is literally a monopoly, right, in EUV. All right. Do you have anything to say about that, or should I go to the next one?
No, let's move on to the next one.
Let's go. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, you saw that, right, Hangry Wife? I know. There you go. So she saw it as well. Shout out to you. All right, let's keep going here. Digital Bridge, DBRG is a ticker. It was up big in the pre-market. DBRG, let's see where it is now. Kind of trading like a buyout, because it is 9.75%, but it was up as much as 50% after Bloomberg reported that SoftBank Group is in advanced talks to acquire the company. Now we know that they are going to acquire them. We know the price. But I summarized this article before we had that information. Sources indicated the deal could be announced as soon as today, and it was announced. So let me just give you that information so we can just get that out of the way. Here it is. The information is as follows. They're going to buy them at $16 a piece, which is a 15% premium to the closing price on Friday, but a 50% premium to its unaffected 52-week average closing price as of the 4th of December. I'm assuming the companies use that as kind of a cutoff point. DBRG, at the time of the writing of this article, you'll have to probably add another 10% to this, up 23% year to date, with the market value nearing about $2.5 billion. I'm seeing the market cap at $2.8 billion right now, with enterprise value, though, far below the actual market value. Their enterprise value is $3.8 billion when you accumulate all their assets and their debts. Now, what does this company do? They are a pure play digital infrastructure platform with about $108 billion in assets under management, spanning data centers or towers, fiber, and edge infrastructure. The CEO, Mark Ganzi, he owns a substantial amount of the company, about $108 million. Portfolio includes operators like Ames, Atlas Edge, DataBank, Switch, Vantage Data Center, and Yonder. None of the companies I've heard of. I'm assuming they're all private. The report lands as SoftBank rotates aggressively into AI infrastructure, having sold all of its Nvidia shares. We reported that to you. SoftBank sold all their Nvidia shares as a result of them wanting to invest it in other ventures. Masayoshi Son saying he reluctantly did it. And this Digital Bridge company fits cleanly as a scaled infrastructure platform rather than a speculative AI model. At the time of the writing of this article, neither SoftBank nor Digital Bridge commented publicly. I don't know if that's still the case or not. Obi, so DBRG, what is your look there?
I saw this in the morning when they had the buyout news or whatever, and this thing absolutely crazy. Take a look at this move on the initial push right here, 33% all the way from 16 to 21s, right? Pulls back in, beautiful, beautiful backside short, right? Halted, right? I'm pretty sure this was halted in the pre-market session. Take a look at where it opens up, Sharif. Absolutely beautiful. So this, again, correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't necessarily see that it was halted, but it definitely stopped and then opened back up down here at around 842. Now imagine getting in the short in the pre-market early and then waking up to this and having absolute liquidity to kind of cover the position as it just trades again like a buyout sideways. Day one buyout, pretty solid move there. But if you got in early and you saw some of this price action, you got with the trend. Oh man, this is something I've don't see this kind of thing very often. But pretty just another deal, another day one buyout here, doing decent volume. So I like it. Did you say it was an what kind of deal it was?
$16 a share. I'm assuming it was all share or cash. You can
let's take a quick look here on what that is, and it doesn't tell me right away right here. But okay. In cash, there you go, $16 in cash.
Good, yeah.
$16 in cash, and we've been trading pretty decently in a bit of a range here, 15.25s to 15.30, so 5 pennies. And don't forget, these things do a lot of volume, and you can get in, you can get in midpoints, you can get in all sorts of places here. So yeah, those of you who are very avid traders of this playbook, this has definitely given some great opportunities on the day today.
All right, let's go on to the next story. Coupang offers $1.17 billion compensation after the data breach. We reported to you guys on this last week as well. They disclosed a major data breach had happened on their system back in November that impacted about 34 million users. And that big event there did trigger leadership changes and regulatory scrutiny. The incident led to the resignation of CEO Park Dae-jun, intensifying pressure, of course, on management to restore the trust and to stabilize the platform. And that's what they're trying to do with this latest push here. They're going to provide 1.69 trillion won, which is about $1.17 billion in compensation. They're going to issue 50,000 won vouchers per user across its service. Both current and former users are going to be eligible, including those who closed their accounts after the breach took place. They remain eligible. Customers can check eligibility on the 15th of January, creating a defined timeline, which is good because contingent liabilities, they sit on the balance sheet until they're not contingent anymore. So you can kind of tell there was an accounting twist here. Coupang stated, though, let's talk about the scope of the breach, because initially it was it sold off a lot more because people didn't know the extent of the breach. Now we know, apparently recovered all the leaked customer data in cooperation with the government, so they weren't operating on their own to recover that data. They did have help, from the regulator, which the market liked. They didn't want them going at it alone. The suspect, though, who stole all that kind of stuff, he stole about 3,000, give or take, customer records. The company said the records were not sold or distributed externally, which kind of helps cap, that legal long-term exposure. I want to know how the company knows that. Maybe they were looking to see if the information was duplicated or something. We'll have to take that kind of with a grain of salt. But Coupang, OB, what is your look on the technicals on CPNG?
I mean, it's just been kind of sideways here. It's not really, I guess maybe in the pre-market we reacted to some of that right there. That's this selling coming in before the 925 imbalances right there, breaking through pre-market structure. More of the same from prior day, right? Prior day, a bit of a chop, yeah, relative volume. Maybe there's some news here on Friday as well. Again, I'm not necessarily a stock I pay too much close attention to, but nice range there and a beautiful fade after an attempt at the more opening range highs and then can't really make it, selling off near the day lows. Coming in off of the open, we sell off into that same area off of the open, into the open actually, and then off of the open catch a bit of a bid, sideways consolidation, holding VWAP as of right now all day long. So how much volume has this done? Is it doing lower than average? Yeah, so I mean, by the end of the day, it's probably going to end up doing average volume because it is 120 right now. But yeah, 14 million shares traded so far. So I don't really have anything too crazy on this right now, Sharif. But I have a bit of a dilemma right now. Trying to order some lunch and I can't decide. Should I do curly fries? It's regular fries, onion rings, or Cajun fries?
If you're insisting on fries, I'm gonna go Cajun.
Cajun. I was thinking about the Cajun, but I'm kind of chopped between.
Fries?
I like curly fries, but the onions as well. Ooh. Onion. Like, come on. When's the last time? Onion rings. Onion rings, right?
Just can't talk to anybody close after
I don't know. Maybe I just need some confluence. Curly Cajun saying, Kadura, love curly fries. Okay, tilapia fries, no. Okay, you know what? There's something actually on this menu called ugly fries.
Ugly fries.
And
Can I have a look?
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, but what do they look
Wagyu
like?
smashed patty, smashed onions, American cheese. So it's just like, I got the burger.
Interesting, okay.
But, I'm looking to pair it with some fries. I'm at a bit of an impasse here, so I don't know.
Are there any sweet potato fries?
No, dude, that would have been game over. If I saw sweet potato fries, I'm just like, yeah, right away.
Index
no, of course.
Potatoes,
yeah,
right?
I mean, we're not really watching that right now. So we'll see. You know how it is. We'll work it off eventually.
Go ahead, Adara.
But
you're muted, Adara.
oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Let's.
Okay.
Another one.
Go ahead.
All right, guys, I'm back. Obi, I think this occasion calls for Cajun fries.
Okay. All right. Cool. I guess we got 2 votes for.
Do you like spice?
Of course.
Yeah, you're all
What
about
do you
that
mean?
life, right? Yeah, exactly.
I think it was as my great grandfather used to say, "If you're not sweating, are you really eating?"
I don't know who it was, but like I have a friend, I feel like it's on the show that said Cajun Cajun. Do you remember anybody?
No, I have no idea.
I don't know who it's going to be. It's going to haunt
I don't know
me.
what that is.
Cajun. It's like saying it the wrong word.
Oh.
It's just like reading it wrong. It's Cajun, right? Not
Oh,
Cajun.
okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No.
All right, guys. Let's go on to the next story.
All right.
Amazon halting drone delivery plans out in Italy. They confirmed they will not proceed with the commercial drone deliveries in Italy after an internal company strategic review. The decision follows the initial pilot testing in San Salvo and Abruzzo. Amazon cited that despite the technical progress of this Amazon delivery service via drone, broader business and regulatory environment does not support the long-term drone operations, at least in that country. I want to make that very clear. Italy's Civil Aviation Authority, called ENAC, they were actually surprised by the move. They said it was unexpected. They noted that progress had been positive with Amazon, and they suggested the decision was likely tied to Amazon's internal policy and recent financial considerations rather than anything that they had to do. So they want to make the point that they were not stifling Amazon in this regard. This highlights a recurring issue, though, for Prime Air. Aviation approval alone is just not enough without alignment on labor, logistics, and commercial regulations. Think about this, guys, right? You're Amazon driver, you're the union for Amazon delivery drivers. You don't want to see these drones, right? Because then that puts your job at risk. That's the point. So they've got to make sure that there's cohesion with the labor union. Otherwise, all hell breaks loose. We've seen that. UPS, etc. You guys know what I'm talking about there. Amazon emphasized this is a country-specific decision, not a retreat from drone delivery globally, and there are drone operations that are already operating in a state-by-state basis remain unaffected. Prime remains active in the U.S. and select international markets. Amazon, you used to be called the Amazonian. I still call you the Amazonian. What's your look here on Amazon?
Let's take a look at what the jungle is up to right here. Yeah, I don't know. Here's the thing, man. They get hit by different regulatory things all the time.
All the time.
All the time, and they'll eat it up. They'll pay the fines. They'll do whatever. You got to remember who these guys are. Of
course.
This is Amazon we're talking about, right? They'll treat it as a cost of business, and they'll be like, all right, where's the next thing? Where are we going? And when we talk about growth, I think they are taking the right steps in the right direction, and kind of being involved in all of the things. So, but in terms of price action over the past week or so, you can see a bit of a push up, strong bid right there, and holding this consolidation range right now, 232s, 234s maybe, down into 231s. So yeah, just watching that. We're still holding that range right now. We have been doing somewhat of a relative volume move in the pre-market session, above 1.2. I say this often, when a large cap starts doing anywhere above like a 1.2, 1.3, 1.5. If you're doing even more, that's amazing. But like that's a lot for a large cap. You got to remember the market cap that these things have, and just for them to be doing that kind of relative volume, you got to understand the kind of dollar volume that's being kind of pushed into the stock on the day. It might be interesting. Just it doesn't mean much other than like maybe look over here for opportunity. If it's there, take it. If it's not, it is what it is. Where's the next trade? But Amazon, let's take a quick look at a higher time frame as well and see how this is faring relative to its other Mag 7 friends. You can see here, bigger picture, bit of a chop. Remember, we talked about the opening price on Amazon. We were like, where is it going to close?
Right.
I think it was 222s, triple twos, if I remember correctly, was the opening price on the year. Let's just go quickly to a 12-month chart, see where we opened up. And you can see here, we were doing a doji dance at the beginning of the month. The opening price, 22203s right there. So a bit of a doji candle happening here going into the end of the year. Is this action slowing down is what I'm asking on a higher time frame, or are we just going to consolidate here and then push past all-time highs, 258.60s here on a 12-month chart on Amazon? What's going on, Adara?
Looks like we might be getting a meeting here with U.S. President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel. Looks like they're meeting here at Mar-a-Lago, according to The Hill. I have a stream up. I'm going to be covering this if there's anything of note happening. But again, looks like there's a Mar-a-Lago meeting between Trump and Netanyahu. Back to you.
Good. Go on to the next topic. So here we go, Fabian, if we can maximize this, please. So this is a video of a Jaguar F-Pace, as we all know. But this is not in San Francisco nor Austin, as you can tell by the background there. That is jolly old London. And so now Waymo is active in London. It did, I don't know if you guys noticed there as it drove by, there is somebody in the driver's seat, so they're not fully autonomous yet, but that's normal because they're operating.
They got the hands on the wheel as well.
They got the hands on the wheel because these cars do come with the steering wheel. They're not like the robo-taxi. By the way, more on that in a second. Robo-taxis all over Austin. So it feels like it's moments before we start seeing the robo-taxi come off the production line. This is the same crap we saw with the Model Y Juniper. As soon as we started seeing them on the roads, a few weeks later, we saw them in production. So we'll have to wait and see. But I digress. Waymo in London, jolly old London. Let's talk about this headline. So Alphabet-backed Waymo was spotted driving a Waymo-branded Jaguar I-Pace on the public roads in London. The vehicle was not operating, as I just mentioned, autonomously in the footage, but the test highlights the groundwork, of course, ahead of a potential expansion. Waymo has confirmed London as a target market. It is pending, of course, regulatory approval, with operations expected to run through a fleet partner called Move. So they're not going to do it directly with the Waymo app like they've been doing in North America. They're partnering with a company I've never heard of, Europe, Move. The company surpassed, by the way, Waymo, 14 million paid robo-taxi rides globally just in 2025. Just in 2025. So that is quite good. I mean, you really need to tip your hat to them there because I think prior to, 2023, nobody was really thinking Waymo was going to surpass Tesla in this. And we've seen Waymo have their problems, but 14 million paid robo-taxi rides this year alone, that's got to mean something. Waymo has faced repeated service disruptions, as I mentioned, in San Francisco, tied to infrastructure on weather. We saw with the power outage there, the cars panicking and putting their hazard lights on, blocking intersections and causing riots. And then on Christmas Day, Waymo halted again the operations in the Bay Area and San Francisco because of the flash flood warning. So, you know, these edge cases continue to dominate the headlines while slowly they've had 14 million robo-taxi rides in 2025. I think that's going to mean something here. Uber and Lyft, though, they're also getting into the autonomous vehicle game, partnering with Baidu and bringing Apollo Go robo-taxis to the UK. So it's not like Waymo is going to be operating there on their own. They will have some competition via two American companies tying the knot with a Chinese company. What's your look on Google?
Yeah, man. I think Google's absolutely solid. I think what was it? I was asked if I could pick one stock for maybe a long-term look. That one that's kind of has their hands in a little bit of everything. Another one that I like to call a little too big to fail. Google's definitely one of those. So what I've been watching here, let's go to a higher time frame. Let's just go to 30-minute. Will 30-minute give us a good look right here? You can see some anchors, I guess, some event happening here. Through earnings, we kind of accelerate, but we pull back and hold structure. These were all-time highs at 332.76s as of right now. When was that? That was on November 25th. So since then, bit of a pullback into the trend lows there, and then taking a little bit of a potential break here. So I was like, okay, we break out of this downtrend support. We're going sideways right now. I call this zip lining, where we're holding the trend from the downside. We pop up, but then now we hold the trend going in the same direction from the other side. Still, resistance turned into support, but direction hasn't necessarily changed. So that kind of action, I call it zip lining, because it's just holding the trend. Either way, how you can just orbiting the support resistance or an area of interest. But that's what I'm seeing here right now. I don't know, sideways consolidation as well if you remove the trend lines. But I think Google is definitely pretty solid in terms of what they do. But I don't know. I'm more of a, you know me, I'm more of a technical type of person.
Yes, I know.
I don't necessarily look at the fundamentals as much because a trader kind of mentioned this on his post recently, and I was like, yes, that's the right kind of phrasing, because I've always seen this kind of happen in stocks more often than not, and I truly, truly believe in it, because at the end of the day, someone always knows something. Someone always knows something.
Okay.
So in terms of price action, a rule that I'm kind of going for now is like, price precedes news. Price precedes news.
It does.
So if you're looking at the price action, you're looking at the volume, you're like, oh, this is doing something interesting. Maybe somebody knows something. Boom, the news comes out, and then it happens. Well, guess what? It's already been building up.
And hold on. Like sometimes we'll see the actual major breakout on the release of the news, but when you look at the price action prior to that, it's already working its way up.
Yeah.
So your point's very well taken there.
It's just like, okay, at the end of the day, it's like, you know, you say, I say, don't like being sold to, but at the same time, I'm asking, who am I selling to, right? You can kind of, again, this is a market, again, tinfoil, let's throw on that tinfoil suit right now. It's a market, marketing happens. You need, if you have a lot of liquidity, if you have a lot of inventory, you need people on the other side to unload your inventory.
Of course.
So you need to market a move to bring in liquidity.
Excellent.
This happens in small caps all the time, but you don't think it happens in large caps? I definitely
in a different
do.
way, yeah,
in different ways, in different kind of things. But it's just like, okay, cool. But at the end of the day, bigger picture, trending to the upside. You know, we're getting pieces of good news. We're getting pieces of news where it's just like, okay, they're expanding, they're getting bigger. Guess what? People already kind of figured that out. That this is a company that's more than willing to do that, and that's the track that they're on. So it's just like, I think price and volume definitely speaks for itself.
I like that. Guys, just before we go to the next topic, I want to mention BNAI. Thank you, Fabian, for pointing that out. It did take a bit of a dive now, but it's still holding general trend, and it's at a very interesting area. Look at this breakout area here. It's a zone, right? 220 to 240. You had a bunch of topping tail candles into that 240, in fact, 250 as well. Here it comes into that area. I would also be interested, believe it or not, to pick this one up off VWAP or that 220 area if it fails this, you know, initial area of resistance that we had. I'm talking again about the 2.25 to 2.5. It's a bit of a big zone here for a $2 name, but that's what the price action is telling me. So watch out here. BNAI still up 97%. But really coming down off the highs. This should be an interesting pickup if it holds support. Let's go on to the next story. And by the way, Bhavin, I did see that story today on Anthony Joshua. We're hoping he does okay. Apparently, he was involved in a car accident in Nigeria. The other car apparently got the worst of it. It sounds like Joshua's injuries are not as serious as the other car. So we're praying for everybody, of course, in that car crash there. Anthony Joshua, of course, having knocked out Jake Paul in the last fight. Let's talk about Novo Nordisk cutting their Wegovy prices in China ahead of a generic wave, says this article. Here's what's going on. So Novo, they cut their price list for its obesity drug Wegovy by roughly 50%. In certain Chinese provinces, not all. The price for the two highest doses, though, were reduced by 987 yuan and about a little bit less than 1,300 yuan, according to the procurement documents viewed by the author of the article that I summarized. Novo said the move here is intended to lower patient cost burdens and improve treatment adherence. But that's cap, okay? That's just pure PR cap. The real truth is their patent on the drug Wegovy in China is expiring March of 2026. What does that mean? That means generic drug manufacturers can start producing semaglutide, which is the chemical name for Wegovy, free and clear of any legal issues in China in March of the upcoming year, and they can start selling it at huge cost discounts. That's because the IP, the intellectual property right patent for drugs in China, has a length of 20 years. And a little tidbit for you guys on this. The Chinese regulator actually tried to have that removed 4 years early back in 22, and they were actually successful. But for those who don't believe the Chinese legal system works, they sued the Chinese regulator and they won in court. And then the regulator in China was forced to wait into March of 2026 when they were trying to have it canceled early in 2022. It didn't happen. Moving on. to part of this article. Novo semaglutide patent expires, as I mentioned, in China in March, opening the door to a wave of lower cost local generics. Pricing action appears defensive as China prepares for copycat obesity drugs. And Wegovy prices were also lowered on JD.com. JD obviously trades in North America. On their online pharmacy platform, patients nationwide can order the drug following the online physician consultations, which helps broaden access. So we saw Wegovy come out last week with an obesity pill for those who don't want the injections, and it rocketed up, but it's given back a little bit somehow.
I was walking around the mall, and they have the Wegovy ads all over the place, all over the place. And yeah, you know, with their patent kind of coming into expiry, other people might be picking it up. But here's what that tells me: maybe they've already captured a decent market share in the minds of people. Especially, they're definitely getting their name out there. They were first to the party. They definitely have that kind of an edge, right, in terms of that. So the question becomes, does it really affect short-term price action? I don't know, but take a look at this. This thing has been in a reversion before all of this stuff, right? This is 2024, right? Again, another potential case of price precedes news, right? Boom, there you go. I don't even need to throw that on. I already had that on, right? So you can see, once it breaks that, it's like, it's all over. We start to look at these aggressive sells, like this is intra-week selling of 20%, another bar down, intra-week selling of 20%. Shout out to my swing shorts. Come on, dude. This is absolutely beautiful. 100% reversion within the span of, okay, the front side of the move was about what? 22 to 24, roughly, I'd say it says about 630 days, so about roughly 2 years. And then the pullback, as of right now, kind of 532, so 100 days off. But like we're still kind of coming into those consolidation ranges. So beautiful, beautiful symmetry on that reversion that we've been having on Novo. Yes, you know, they're coming out with these products and everything, but I think there's a bigger picture trend that is more dominant than some of the stuff that's coming out in the short term. But yeah, I love this chart. This is one of my textbook examples for symmetrical reversion on a longer time.
Like that symmetrical reversion. Obi, new traders, listen up. Oh, hold, no worries. Of course, no worries, brother. All right, we'll go on to the next story over here. Silver. We've been talking about silver. By the way, guys, just before I go on to silver, Micron is rocketing up. Micron's at the high of the day. It's up 2.5% or thereabouts. So be on the lookout there if you're looking for some large caps. All right, new traders, listen up. The first month is absolutely free. That even includes you, Ozan. That's right, we're waiving the fees so you can trade smarter, not harder, by upgrading to that elite experience they offer, where you'll analyze, you'll strategize, and then hopefully after you've done all that, you'll capitalize on their platform that has everything. We are talking infinite data. We are talking instant trading, lightning fast market insights, and game-changing charts. And they have a badass backtesting tool. And so you can predict better with their backtesting tool. It's got reliable real-time data, global markets at the tips of your fingers. It isn't an all-in-one platform, so don't miss out. Execute your best trades now. If you are ready to elevate your trading, you need to scan that QR code or click the link in the description of this video. Thank you very much. All right, let's talk a little silver. So SLV, where's it at? Because it was certainly in free fall. Silver, okay, it's not updating. I do apologize. Let me just take a quick look up here. SLV's down 9%. Oh no. Silver prices pushed new highs near $85. Of course, we were talking about the time of the writing of this article. Before, this article says a modest pullback, but I'd say, you know, 1 percentage point away from SSR, probably not that modest. It was driven by China imposing export licensing restrictions on, yes, silver. The move has raised fears of a global supply squeeze, especially given silver's heavy use in industrial, electric vehicles, and electronic appliances. The market reaction here suggests traders are treating this as a structural supply risk, not just a short-term headline risk. So they're taking China seriously here, in other words. China's new export rules are viewed as the primary upside catalyst with immediate effects. Physical silver premiums widened sharply with Shanghai prices at about $91 an ounce, but that's like very, very different than the 77 to 80 that we have here in the West. So there's a bit of an arb there, arbitrage opportunity, highlighting and growing, again, arbitrage gap. Elon Musk publicly warned that this is, quote, not good. Emphasizing, I love this guy's tweets, man, when he tweets something else and like it's a lengthy ass like paragraph that somebody wrote about like a topic, he'll just like write cool above it. He's so cool. All right, anyway, the CME has responded to this latest volatility in silver, and they've increased their margin requirements now to trade the silver futures contract to $25,000. That is effective today to curb, their objective here is to curb excessive leverage, while margins reduce speculative froth. History here suggests the long-term bull markets survive these margin hikes, especially when driven by supply constraints. And that's what we're looking at here with this new China headline. Long-term silver bulls, though, they argue the market is in a structural deficit with industrial demand outpacing the mining supply. I saw some of you guys there in the chat. You guys said that it takes 15 years, 10 years to build a mine. I'm not echoing that, I'm not vouching for the validity of that, but it gives an idea of how long it takes to get mines online. We know that about plenty in this province. The high-profile voices like Robert Kiyosaki are calling for $200 silver, while the shifter, Peter Schiff, he notes momentum remains strong despite near-term pullback. So, Obi, I'd like to know what you think about silver because you've got a lot of thoughts.
Yeah, so definitely been watching this one, stalking this one for the past, I guess, a couple of weeks at least. Intraday, it's been a great vehicle as well. I did get involved in it today a couple of times here. Wow, there's a SIDU reversion coming in. I'm just looking at that. But silver here today was a pretty strong sell day. In the pre-market session, if you guys were watching the overnight session as well, pretty decent price action there. 69s coming in the pre-market, holding VWAP once again here. Again, I got to do better with holding some of these positions as well. That gives you over $1. But take a look at this on a higher time frame. This is the hourly chart here. Let's just look at where can I draw an anchor here? Let's just say, let's find a good spot, an event. Here's a consolidation break right here. There's the breakout of 54s. So let me throw on an anchor there and see how we're doing relative to that. Yeah, see, look at that extension off of that. We come in, pull in, hold pretty decently, but extension off of the average there is basically how I'm seeing it. And we got an aggressive move prior day. Pretty much closing, opening at the lows, closing at the highs. I actually felt some of this price action there, Sharif. Okay. I got short here in and around the end of the day. I think it was, actually it was around the middle of the day here. Jesus. Kind of a 70, no, I got 70 back through. So it would have been back into here. So this pulls in and I'm like, all right, maybe now we've broken a little bit of a shorter term trend, bigger picture trend is still intact. And then just the bid held so well back through 70, just a chase. And I'm like, I don't necessarily want to be involved in this. Bit of a squeeze tape. And guess what? Maybe the exhaustion happened in the overnight session or whatever, somewhere around the world. And then comes right back in, gapping down lower, 67.03s, and then that in the pre-market, and then that cracks as well coming into the open. And we've only been making lower highs and lower lows since then. And we kind of talk about how saturated and crowded can a trade get. Everyone is talking about silver. We talked about earlier that, like, yeah, there's people who normally maybe wouldn't be even looking at gold and silver, talking about gold and silver and being like, this is going crazy. I think, what was it? I saw on, and now this Reddit forum was, I think, a couple of weeks old, but I think it's every quarter that's minted in Canada. I think it was before 1967. Has about a 15% composure of silver. Yes, now that face value is 25 cents, but guess what the value of the coin is? It's above $15 for a quarter because of the silver content in it. So don't spend your quarters, guys.
That's crazy, dude. I mean? I've
so
heard
it's just
about
like
stuff like
so.
this
So
before.
think about it. Yeah.
Wasn't there the same thing with pennies and copper or something like that?
At the time, it could be, I mean, think about it. They stopped minting pennies because the cost of copper was more than the penny itself.
Well, yeah, because everybody's using copper.
So it's like now you have some sort of alloys that the quarters are being minted on, which is there's almost no. I don't think there's any silver in the newer ones, but
still nickel nickel in the nickels, though, right?
Yeah, so even in the older nickels, so there was so much silver in it, so the face value of some of these coins has gone so absolutely crazy, right? We're going absolutely crazy, and I think someone showed me a graphic earlier of. I think it was Jose posted this somewhere here. I think it was in. Is it in the non-trading? I think it was. Hold on one second.
I like how you guys have non-trading and trading.
Yeah, of course. You gotta exactly. You gotta separate some of that stuff. But you know, I gotta go back and figure out where that was posted. I think it was in Daily Idea.
Well, let's give it an opportunity.
Right here. So this one, gold to silver ratio. I don't know how accurate this stands right now, but take a look at this right here. So in histories. 3200 BC, 1 to 3, that's gold to silver. Right now, today, this was 13th of November. Now, this has kind of gone down a little bit, but
yeah,
exactly. So it's just like throughout history, this has been this gold to silver ratio. Now, don't quote me on this. I don't know how accurate this is. The at here is make gold great. So you know what I mean. Take it with a grain of salt. Do your own research here, but again, it goes to show a little bit of discrepancy.
And that typically means reversion is coming, right?
I don't know. I don't know what it means. Here's the thing
about that gold-silver ratio, and he was like saying, well, when it gets out of whack like that, usually there is some sort of reversion. I mean, I don't know.
Well, something I think it's just a natural course of price action. When something's too far too gone. And yeah, you're going to get a bit of balancing. The market will balance itself. When and where, the timing is on you. You know what I mean? So it's just like, okay, cool. How much further can we go? We saw that happening with platinum.
We did.
Platinum, I was looking at platinum here. Was it PPLT? This physical platinum shares ETF right here. You can see this thing was going absolutely crazy as well, alongside the other precious metals. Take a look at this. Now we've been selling off. Look at this parabolic move, dude. Absolute parabolic. Let's go to the hourly here so we can see. Look at that break of trend. We try to break trend here, kind of maybe stopping people out, bit of a squeeze, and then slap right back in on a day like today. So absolutely beautiful action. We're probably coming into about 30% reversion of this break right here, maybe poised for 50%. That's not that far away, right? So yeah, things are definitely taking a little bit of a pullback as of right now on this craze of precious metals. Now again, this could be different. This could be different where the ratio of gold to silver is going crazy because of the demand for silver. What are we using it in? Is it being used in anything AI related? Again, yeah, I'll definitely send you this here. Yeah, for sure. So it's just crazy times we live in, I think. I think that's what I kind of want to point out here. And when something goes a little too crazy, I'm definitely watching it very closely.
That makes sense, Hope. All right, Adair, give us your take, please, on silver.
An aspect of this. So CME actually came out here, as we talked about in that segment just now, actually raising its margin requirement for silver. Now, what's significant here is the last 2 times they've done this, or at least like the most significant times that this has happened, it's actually led to a massive drop in silver afterwards. So I want to discuss this, and I do want to give credit as well to this article from Yahoo Finance. I'm going to drop this in our chat so you guys can follow along with me. But basically, Yahoo Finance having this article covering comments from an individual whose X handle is Kinba Frank, so QINBAFRANK. This individual has over 100,000 followers on X, including supply chain analyst Ming-Chi Kuo, so just a little bit of pedigree there. So this Kinba Frank individual basically saying that the CME doing this is significant because of 1980 and 2011 silver peaks, which are followed by massive drops. Again, as we get these margin requirements changed. So in 2011, silver surges in a massive way. CME raises margins 5 times in a 9-day period. And then silver drops 30% in a matter of weeks. Now, 1980, this is going to be even more significant. We had individuals by the name of the Hunt brothers. They accumulate more than 200 million ounces of silver. This leverage futures, they push even higher. Then we have CME introducing the Silver Rule 7, eliminating leverage. That plus rate hikes leads to a drop in silver. So again, guys, 1980 and 2011, 2 examples of when you get this margin increase for silver, silver finds a little bit of a decrease. So read that article if you're interested. I did drop it here on our YouTube chat. You can find it. It's Yahoo Finance. I think it explains the situation really well. And I think that might be, in my opinion anyway, the key catalyst here with silver. Because, as we have OB say, and a lot of other traders, I believe Neil says this as well, history doesn't repeat, but it often rhymes. Hopefully, for the sake of silver longs, we don't have another rhyme here.
I think it's absolutely crazy. It's funny that you mentioned that. I just remember that story. Those two guys, they basically cornered the silver market, and yeah, I think they got some hefty fines for that slapped on them as well afterwards. But again, the action was done and gone by the time that had come in. So yeah, pretty solid stuff there. And I don't know, times could be different, or it could not be. I have no idea. But like I said before, I'm just going to let the price action guide me, because that's what I'm here to do. I'm not here to, really talk about why I think certain things are happening. That's way above my pay grade here. I just get a short off of VWAP as sellers show their dominance. I like that there as well on that. But interesting stuff nonetheless. Like I said before, that's happening in the precious metal space.
Talk a little oil, but it's one of the very few green sectors on the day. Very green. So the CL. The oil February contract is up about 2.17%, and you've got the likes of XOM up 1.25%, CVX is up 2/3, Oxy's up 1%. So let's talk about what's going on here. So oil prices rose after a sharp Friday sell-off. The move follows 2% declines, give or take, last week as the markets priced in a potential global supply glut and optimism around the Russia-Ukraine peace talks. More on that in a second. Energy infrastructure strikes, though, between Russia and Ukraine continued over the weekend, which keeps supply risks elevated. They were hitting each other's energy infrastructure. President Trump did hold talks yesterday in person with President Zelensky of Ukraine. I believe he did speak on the phone prior to that with President Putin, saying they were very close to a deal, but he did acknowledge unresolved issues. Not really going to get into what that is, but there was more, let's just say, world issues that are causing the price of oil to go up. And, quite frankly, this thing's still trading below $60 a barrel. Saudi Arabia, the world's largest producer of oil, of course, struck Yemen as the Houthis and the Saudis. There's beef between them, obviously. Iran as well at the United Nations basically has pretty aggressive rhetoric, man, calling for a full-scale war possibly here with the U.S., Europe, and Israel, which raised fear of broader regional disruption. And then there was also the issue, of course, of the U.S. building a very big military presence off the coast of Venezuela, another big oil-producing country, seizing ships, seizing oil. And then Nigeria, which also has a sizable oil industry, 1.5 million barrels per day, was struck last week as well. We're not going to go into that, but there's been a whole lot of issues here, especially military issues, Obi, with these oil-producing countries. I gotta say, man, only up 2%. I don't want to say only, but usually, oil, when there's belligerencies like this, has a tendency to pop. What's your look?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I do kind of include crude oil futures in my daily morning scan, and it's just been kind of just trending to the downside over the past good sizable part of the year here. We had that strong flush happening here in June of this year. I forget what the catalyst for that was in June, but since then, yeah, selling kind of maybe a little dominant, lower highs, lower lows happening here on crude oil. We had some selling in this area before as well. This double bottom was interesting as well. That was a nice little failure to follow through 50, but yeah, no, just kind of a sideways shop, not really being affected, like you said, by some of these events. So again, question becomes, I don't necessarily know this market as well. There are definitely participants and players who are involved, which they can they control some of these prices.
Right.
And yeah, I don't understand a lot of that here. But in terms of trend, we have been trending to the downside. Maybe headed back for that 50, maybe not. Maybe we break the trend and push back above these some of these highs here, 60s, 62s on crude oil. But yeah.
Should let you go because I know you're going to start with the next show. So
yeah,
if you want to take off, I'll finish it off from here.
Yeah.
But Adara, please give us your opinion on this oil story.
See you guys soon.
The CEO, I guess, on the other side there. But this is an opinion and more just an update here with the Ukraine-Russia situation, because the idea of having a resolution, that has become incredibly murky over the last 3 hours, and I do want to discuss it. So as I mentioned earlier today, probably around 10:15, 10:30 a.m., we start getting a couple reports out of Russia suggesting, A, that Ukrainian forces did actually strike the residence of Vladimir Putin, of course, in Russia, and then B, that Russia was not going to let that stand, and now there could be some issues here with the peace talks. So that comes first. Then we have Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine saying that actually never happened. Ukraine never hit President or never even attacked Putin's house, so that became an interesting element. Then we actually heard some reports further suggesting that apparently Putin called Trump and said, hey, this attack happened. Now, of course, around 1:20 p.m., we start having Trump and Netanyahu, they're speaking, and then during the Q&A ahead of that meeting, we do have Trump say, yes, Putin did call me, and I'm not happy with the fact that Ukraine reportedly, and again, allegedly, hit Russia. So this is going to be a back and forth. It seems like any peace talks we might have had, those are slowing down quite a bit. One of the responses from Russia basically said that we hope the U.S. understands that now these peace talks are going to be compromised. So I think that's a really interesting thing to note for oil. As you guys can see here, around 1:15 p.m., that's when we start to get a bit of a pop back up here in BOIL, or BOIL's, one of the ETFs here. So I would keep an eye on this Russia-Ukraine situation, specifically with regards to the U.S. and negotiations. And I, of course, will keep you apprised of anything I hear.
Thank you very much. Let's talk about this story here. China EV exports surge, highlighting the global demand tailwind, says the article. So their electric vehicle exports hit a major inflection point in November, with global shipments jumping 87% year over year to a little bit less than 200,000 units exported just in that 1 month, according to China Customs. The data does underscore the accelerating international adoption of Chinese EVs as a result of course, pricing, but we know quality, a big part in that now, as the Chinese really do expand that part of their moat, and broader model availability. You got the big, the medium, the small, whereas, you know, still the North American makers, not so much of a selection. Export momentum as well reinforces China's role as that dominant global EV manufacturing hub going into next year. NIO's really the only one that's up on the day, up 3%. XPEV's down 2.12. Li Auto is also down 2%. Where's Zeekr, that hot garbage? It's in the value now? It got kicked off. Zeekr got kicked off. It's not on the Nasdaq anymore. I didn't even realize that. BYD's also down 0.4%. But really, it is the story of Europe here, and England included, really picking up a lot of these Chinese EVs. We've talking about England. We've been talking about some other jurisdictions there where we're seeing 300% year-over-year increases in BYD registrations in that country. All the while, we're seeing a drop in the Tesla registrations. And now Mexico is a big part of that. So EV exports to Mexico surged a little bit less than 2,400% year over year in November to about 19,350 units, marking one of the fastest growth rates among destination markets. Asia remained, though, the largest importer, taking about a little bit less than 111,000 units. That's also a 71% year over year. Now, if you're wondering, like, why are these numbers so big? Well, because the Chinese weren't really focusing on exporting a lot of their EVs. They were basically trying to build up domestic demand, but now domestic demand seems to be a little bit saturated, and we've seen that with these Chinese EV companies dropping the price of their EVs and kind of creating this race to the bottom, so much so that it pissed off the Chinese regulator there, who threatened these companies and said, stop doing that. So obviously, how do you maintain margins? You look for buyers abroad. Growth in Asia does continue to support volume stability, even as trade risks rise with Western markets. And here's the Europe part of it. Europe imported a little bit less than 43,000 EVs, a 63% year-over-year increase, which is obviously quite resilient despite the demand regulatory scrutiny. Latin America, the Caribbean, jumped 283% year-over-year, taking about a little bit more than 35,000 units. But shipments to the European Union alone rose 39% year-over-year, up to about a little bit less than 26,000 vehicles, even as anti-dumping concerns remain in focus. Now, we know that the Europeans took a bit of a different take to tariffs on these Chinese EVs, they went on a case-per-case basis. So they assessed XPEV, they assessed Li Auto, NIO, BYD, Zeekr, Geely, all the other ones, and they said, we're gonna assign you a certain tariff price based on how much subsidies you got from the Chinese regulator. The companies that got the most subsidies have the highest rates of tariffs, import tariffs, and the ones that received the least subsidies had the lowest. So that's the European take. North America, including Canada and the United States, we have a blanket 100% tariffs, effectively, preventing these companies from coming in, and they don't have a support infrastructure here. So even if you do buy one, pay 100% tariffs on it, how are you going to service it? In any event, it is now 2:02 p.m. We're going to send you to the big boys, and I'll see everybody shortly at the big desk.
Welcome back, everybody. And of course, you just saw Obi like 3 minutes ago. So
Just did a quick instant teleportation.
Instant teleportation.